मुझे लगे लाइक अ मॉडल, उसके लिए लाया पूरी बॉटल। आज के बाद जो मिल ना सके तो भूल जा जो हुआ 12 बजे। 12 बजे बदले इरादे हमारे 12 बजे। तूने खुद को दिया था मुझे, वो मुझे लगे लाइक अ मॉडल, उसके लिए लाया पूरी बॉटल। आज के बाद जो मिल ना सके तो भूल जा जो हुआ 12 बजे।
Bitch, you wanna vibe in a high zone, yeah. Bitch, you want a piece of the pie. Shitty bitch, मुझे करे excite. I'm too drunk and high for this shit, baby. I'm young and wild, हमारे drip heavy. हम circle में सच करें lit, baby. वो पूछे बैठे बैठे ऐसे कैसे hit दे दिया. यल्ला हबीबी, I'm back in the city. मैं blue area वाली सड़क पे धती. हल्लक की हड्डी सी बन के तू अटकी है, हट रही है, हट जा तू अभी, मैं मस्ती में चल. You know the drill. मैं था जब यहाँ पे तू कहाँ थी, तू जहाँ थी अब देखे मुझे वहाँ से ही, अब तू वहाँ से ही और मैं वो नहीं। अब लोकी मैं रखता नहीं, खुले में फाड़ू, मैं वो नहीं जो दर्द दिल स्टोरी पे चाड़ू। पानी में मौली विद बैडीज थिक बॉडीज और नशे में वो तेरे नाम की दारू। लांती वाली वो यादों में डूब के लफ्जों की नजर हम करते खूब थे, बचपना समझे वो अपने थे फलसफे, फलसफों में चुते आपे महबूब के। महफूज है वो सब सफा सफा करके, दिल सफा तभी सब रफा दफा करते। पन्ने पन्ने पे है लखते जिगर, बीती की किताब अब खुद नहीं पढ़ते। सड़कों पे स्कर स्कर करती है वेब, can't sit with us, ये तेरी अर्जी है bitch, तेरी मर्जी है bitch, shit, this is how I live. 12 बजे I'm rolling a J, 12 के बजते ही bottoms up, 12 से लेके हम 12 तक, 12 में hot as fuck. तू ले आ तेरी girlfriends and meet me at the hotel room. Hey, तू बोतल खोल, मैं बहुत chill हूँ.
She knows के मैं होश में नहीं, मिलना रोज तो नहीं, she knows वो मेरी दोस्त भी नहीं, हम जितने क्लोज हैं उतने क्लोज भी नहीं। पर 12 बजे बदले इरादे हमारे 12 बजे। तूने खुद को दिया था मुझे, वो मुझे लगे लाइक अ मॉडल, उसके लिए लाया पूरी बॉटल। आज के बाद जो मिल ना सके तो भूल जा जो हुआ 12 बजे। 12 बजे बदले इरादे हमारे 12 बजे। तूने खुद को दिया था मुझे, वो मुझे लगे लाइक अ मॉडल, उसके लिए लाया पूरी बॉटल। आज के बाद जो मिल ना सके तो भूल जा जो हुआ 12 बजे।
She wanna roll with me, she throw it back, she don't wanna see the floor with me. I'll take you overseas, जो भी चाहिए मुँह पे बोल, मैं कुछ और तो नहीं, तू बोर तो नहीं, कोई कॉल तो नहीं, कोई और तो नहीं। कराची से लाहौर गाने बचे पेस खोल तो सही, तू गौर कर भाई छोड़े अभी है मौकल नहीं, ढूंढे मौके नहीं, कुत्ते सिर्फ मौकते। मैं लिखता रियल टॉक पे भी इसी की मोनोपोली, दुनिया ये बेबाक पड़ी, हम ही आके पाक पे की खेलूं मैं भी सांप सीढ़ी के आरे और राख के भी कितनी और शनाख्त तू जो अक्का नहीं वो खाता नहीं। बांटू मैं एक मत हो बेबी दीवानी, मुन्नी बदनामी और शीला जवानी, आरामी है लौंडे आरामी, पापी पुराने गाने मेरे याद जुबानी। दिल रुबाए दिल दुखाए, मैं वो शायर जिसकी शायरी में इल्म छुपा है। मैं फिल सुबह तक बेल चुका के चले वर्सेस टेक्निकल, इतने लोग कहते हिल चुका है। आज 12 बजे टीवा इन द बिल, पैनिस ड्रॉप मुँह पे 12 बजे। मेरे आगे लगे रातें जागे हम, देख बेबी मुझे डीएम करे ठीक रात।
12 बजे बदले इरादे हमारे 12 बजे। तूने खुद को दिया था मुझे, वो मुझे लगे लाइक अ मॉडल, उसके लिए लाया पूरी बॉटल। आज के बाद जो मिल ना सके तो भूल जा जो हुआ 12 बजे। तो बस वाइब ही वाइब है, हर पासे हाइप ही हाइप है। मैन डोंट वेट फॉर नन, फर्क नहीं पड़ता तू आए या आए नहीं। दिल मेरा कोल्ड एज आइस है, पुट इट इन माय कप, नशा या ख्वाहिशें, लॉयल्टी एंड ब्लड मिलते नहीं साइड। मुझसे ना पूछा कर हम कहाँ गए थे, आज के हम जहाँ रहे थे, सहरा में उतरे दरिया से बहे थे, जख्म लगे थे दर्द भी सहे थे, दुनिया की हड्डी खुदा के चाहिए नहीं थे तुम में हमारे वाले गुण ही नहीं थे। वहीं देख पतली गली पकड़ हाथ छोटे, वहीं देख कभी तुम कभी मैं कभी तुम रहे गुम अपनी दुनिया में। जिंदगी खेल लोग पहचान दे कौन सांप कौन सीढ़ियां हैं। ड्रॉप नॉलेज जब के गया नहीं मैं कॉलेज, मेरे आगे लौटे चुप है ये जबान कनी फालिश करूं खारिज जिनको होती जिनको खारिश में के ट्रेन गोलाबारी ये कराची वाली वाइब तो मैं आ रही। मोस्ट क्लीन नोज क्लीन फटी जीन्स, बेबी देती लाइन मैंने माइंड ही नहीं की, बेबी देती लाइन मैंने लाइन भी नहीं की। मेरा अक्स मेरा सगा फिर वो आए ना ही सही, माइंड ओवर मैटर सोते में ठोक देंगे माइंड ओवर मैट्रेस। रियल टॉक छोटे स्कार्स ओवर टैटूज, रियल टॉक कभी बहुत पीछे है तू सोच तेरी महदूद। She knows के मैं होश में नहीं, She knows मिलना रोज तो नहीं, She knows वो मेरी दोस्त भी नहीं, हम जितने क्लोज हैं उतने क्लोज भी नहीं। पर 12 बजे बदले इरादे हमारे 12 बजे, तूने खुद को दिया था मुझे, वो मुझे लगे लाइक अ मॉडल, उसके लिए लाया पूरी बॉटल। आज के बाद जो मिल ना सके तो भूल जा जो हुआ 12 बजे। 12 बजे बदले इरादे हमारे 12 बजे, तूने खुद को दिया था मुझे, वो मुझे लगे लाइक अ मॉडल, उसके लिए लाया पूरी बॉटल। आज के बाद जो मिल ना सके तो भूल जा जो हुआ 12 बजे।
Bitch, you wanna vibe in a high zone, yeah. Bitch, you want a piece of the pie. Shitty bitch, won't you get it excite? I'm too drunk and high for this shit, baby. I'm young and wild, हमारे drip heavy. हम circle में सच करें lit, baby. वो पूछे बैठे बैठे ऐसे कैसे hit दे दिया? यल्ला हबीबी, I'm back in the city. मैं blue area वाली सड़क पे धती, हल्क की हड्डी सी बन के तू अटकी है, हट रही है, हट जा तू अभी मैं मस्ती में चल. You know the drill. मैं था जब यहाँ पे तू कहाँ थी, तू जहाँ थी अब देखे मुझे वहाँ से ही, अब तू वहाँ से ही और मैं वो नहीं। अब लोकी मैं रखता नहीं खुले में फाड़ू, मैं वो नहीं जो दर्द दिल स्टोरी पे चाड़ू। पानी में मौली विद बैडीज थिक बॉडीज और नशे में वो तेरे नाम की दारू, लांती वाली वो यादों में डूब के लफ्जों की नजर हम करते खूब थे। बचपना समझे वो अपने थे फलसफों में चुते आपे महबूब के, महफूज है वो सब सफा करके दिल सफा तभी सब रफा दफा करते। पन्ने पन्ने पे है लखते जिगर बीती की किताब अब खुद नहीं पढ़ते, सड़कों पे स्कर करती है वेब can't sit with us, ये तेरी अर्जी है bitch, तेरी मर्जी है bitch, shit this is how I live। 12 बजे I'm rolling a J, 12 के बजते ही bottoms up, 12 से लेके हम 12 तक, 12 में hot as fuck। तू ले आ तेरी girlfriends and meet me at the hotel room, hey तू बोतल खोल मैं बहुत चिल हूँ।
She knows के मैं होश में नहीं, मिलना रोज तो नहीं, She knows वो मेरी दोस्त भी नहीं, हम जितने क्लोज हैं उतने क्लोज भी नहीं। पर 12 बजे बदले इरादे हमारे 12 बजे, तूने खुद को दिया था मुझे, वो मुझे लगे लाइक अ मॉडल, उसके लिए लाया पूरी बॉटल। आज के बाद जो मिल ना सके तो भूल जा जो हुआ 12 बजे। 12 बजे बदले इरादे हमारे 12 बजे, तूने खुद को दिया था मुझे, वो मुझे लगे लाइक अ मॉडल, उसके लिए लाया पूरी बॉटल। आज के बाद जो मिल ना सके तो भूल जा जो हुआ 12 बजे।
She wanna roll with me, she throw it back, she don't wanna see the floor with me। I'll take you overseas, जो भी चाहिए मुंह पे बोल, मैं कुछ और तो नहीं, तू बोर तो नहीं, कोई कॉल तो नहीं, कोई और तो नहीं। कराची से लाहौर गाने बजे बेस खोल तो सही, तू गौर कर भाई छोड़े अभी है मौकल नहीं, ढूंढे मौके नहीं कुत्ते सिर्फ मौके। मैं लिखता रियल टॉक बेबी, इसी की मोनोपोली, दुनिया ये बेबाक पड़ी, हम ही आके पाक बेगी खेलूं मैं भी सांप सीढ़ी के आरे सो राख के भी कितनी और शनाख्त दूं जो अक्का नहीं वो खाता नहीं। बांटू मैं एक मत हो बेबी दीवानी, मुन्नी बदनामी और शीला जवानी, आरामी है लौंडे आरामी, पापी पुराने गाने मेरे याद है जुबान जबानी दिल रुबाए दिल दुखाए मैं वो शायर जिसकी शायरी में इल्म छुपा है महफिल सुबह तक बिल चुका के चले वर्सेस टेक्निकल इतने लोग कहते हिल चुका है आज 12 बजे टीवा इन द बिल पैनिस ड्रॉप मुंह पे 12 बजे मेरे आगे लगे रातें जागे हम देख बेबी मुझे डीएम करे ठीक रात
12 बजे बदले इरादे हमारे 12 बजे तूने खुद को दिया था मुझे वो मुझे लगे लाइक अ मॉडल उसके लिए लाया पूरी बॉटल आज के बाद जो मिल ना सके तो भूल जा जो हुआ 12 बजे तो बस वाइब ही वाइब है हर पासे हाइप ही हाइप है मैन डोंट वेट फॉर नन फर्क नहीं पड़ता तू आए नहीं दिल मेरा कोल्ड एज आइस है पुट इट इन माय कप नशा या ख्वाहिश लॉयल्टी एंड ब्लड मिलते नहीं साइज मुझसे ना पूछा कर हम कहाँ गए थे इतना समझ के हम जहाँ रहे थे सहरा में उतरे दरिया से बहे थे जख्म लगे थे दर्द भी सहे थे दुनिया की हड्डी खुदा के चाहिए नहीं थे तुम में हमारे वाले गुण ही नहीं थे वहीं देख पतली गली पकड़ हाथ छोटे वहीं देख कभी तुम कभी मैं कभी तुम रहे गुम अपनी दुनिया में जिंदगी खेल लोग पहचान दे कौन सांप कौन सीढ़ियां हैं ड्रॉप नॉलेज के गया नहीं मैं कॉलेज मेरे आगे लौटे चुपे ये जबान कनी फालिश करूं खारिज जिनको होती जिनको खारिश में के ट्रेन गोलाबारी ये कराची वाली वाइब तो मैं आ रही मोस्ट स्क्रीन नो स्क्रीन फटी जीन्स बेबी देती लाइन मैंने माइंड ही नहीं की बेबी देती लाइन मैंने लाइन भी नहीं की मेरा अक्स मेरा सगा फिर वो आए ना ही सही माइंड ओवर मैटर सोते में ठोक देंगे माइंड ओवर मैट्रेस रियल टॉक छोटे स्कार्स ओवर टैटूज रियल टॉक कभी बहुत पीछे है तू सोच तेरी महदूद She knows के मैं होश में नहीं She knows मिलना रोज तो नहीं She knows वो मेरी दोस्त भी नहीं हम जितने क्लोज हैं उतने क्लोज भी नहीं और 12 बजे बदले इरादे हमारे 12 बजे तूने खुद को दिया था मुझे वो मुझे लगे लाइक अ मॉडल उसके लिए लाया पूरी बॉटल आज के बाद जो मिल ना सके तो भूल जा जो हुआ 12 बजे बदले इरादे हमारे 12 बजे तूने खुद को दिया था मुझे वो मुझे लगे लाइक अ मॉडल उसके लिए लाया पूरी बॉटल आज के बाद जो मिल ना सके तो भूल जा जो हुआ 12 बजे
So what is up boys, welcome back. And it is okay, window capture. Kaya एक से लाओ अच्छा પછી જો ભર્યાનો હાથ કાળો કરી દેવાનો હોય
Do you remember your first time seeing the impossible?
World
When the
University.
first masters emerged. Challenge. Ball. Ball.
Oh, ये क्या है?
I go fast.
Hello everyone and welcome to what we have been waiting for since we set eyes on this game. It started across the globe and narrowed down from the 16 best teams down to our final two, Gambit and Acend. I'm your host Youngsu and I'm on the desk today, as you guys can see, with three amazing people, Sean, Gez, Riv and Jess. Welcome guys to the grand finals.
Yeah, we got to get that NA representation in, Riv.
Oh my
I'm
God.
so excited. Did anybody recognize? What was that?
I heard lots of words.
I heard a voice at the end. What was that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
All right.
I liked it.
I mean, we
The
know
show must go on.
we know Riot Games an Easter egg, so I'm excited to see what the
Yeah.
fans are going to decipher from all of that. But also, Jess, I didn't get to speak to you just now. You seem so far away.
I
But
know.
welcome.
We're across,
Yes.
and you know, speaking about representation, I technically represent two different regions. I got the APAC, you know, being Australian essentially, and then EMEA now that I live in Europe. So there's a lot of representation on the desk.
You're one of us. You're one of us. You count. You count. But speaking of representation, the grand finals has come down to two EMEA teams, which if I had told you that, Sean, in the beginning of the tournament, you probably would have killed me and not believed me. But looking at the bracket, we lost so many insane teams on the way. Which one do you guys miss the most?
All of them, all of the NA teams.
Come on.
This bracket has been insane. I think I've gotten every single prediction wrong.
No Sentinel
That's how
here.
insane this
No.
tournament's been.
It's one of the ones where you're happy about it, though. As Dash mentioned yesterday, the recruitment was starting. I was fully on board, and I still am. I still am. I want next year to start already, but we still have amazing games to go, and I can't wait to see how this ends.
I don't want to predict any more games because the moment we entered the playoffs, I was just cursing team after team after team. So if you're out there and you've got a fan of a team and I predict them, yeah, be a little bit worried. I don't have a good win record thus far.
Nice job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a tournament of upsets, and you can see that Jess, Team Liquid, a team I think
I
a lot of
know.
people expected to win this entire tournament, they fell in a very uncharacteristic fashion yesterday.
I mean, speaking of curses, that was the team after
Why?
Vision Strikers got knocked out that I publicly said
Yeah.
I thought would win. Guess who got knocked out in the very next game? It's Team Liquid, and the round differential was even worse than I expected. They said they had a bad day at the office, and well, that was the worst day you could have had.
I don't even think they showed up at the office, Jess. They were completely outplayed all series long. I've never seen such domination in one of these top EMEA matchups. I can't remember a scoreline like this, so this is more telling in my eyes of Acend than Liquid.
Yeah, the growth from Acend has literally, the name says it all. We've seen this team talk about their year, come through so much, and from their last loss at Masters 3 to 100 Thieves, they have literally looked unstoppable except for a home ground loss against Liquid, which they just repaired.
Yeah, I mean, Nvidia suffering from his first loss as well, but they're going to bounce back. This team is a top 4 team for a reason. But I also got to mention yesterday, personally for me, the greatest game of Valorant I think I have ever seen.
bar none.
Not just like regionally, just in general, Sean. Crew versus Gambit. I think every single person that watched that was as emotional as the players were.
Yeah, and then we had the live crowd shots. I mean, the whole thing was so insane. It brings goosebumps on me right now just thinking about it. We were all watching it, Riv. We were just so hype. Oh my gosh, what an underdog story. I've never seen anything like that in all of my years of esports. They brought it the entire tournament and never let off the gas.
It was amazing how much it was each member of the team as well. The growth from everyone you saw, it wasn't just Kesnet and Nax on the top. Other people were coming up huge. And the way that they were able to take some of those games was so dominant. They brought the same firepower we see from Gambit, which is not something a lot of teams can do. So that was amazing to see. And Gambit did get tested. So did they learn something here as they move into the grand finals about themselves that makes them even stronger?
we got to the quarters and we're like, all right,
lighter one कर देते हैं.
Fnatic and Cruz sitting there going, yeah, we were feeling it, we know. And then, of course, the casters pointed out, it might have been Pansy and Hypok who were like, hang on, at what point do we stop calling this an upset?
Yeah,
Doug said it as well, and he turned around and he goes, we can't just keep calling this an upset. They are here to play, they're here to win, and the fact that they brought Gambit right to the edge shows me that they are world contenders through and through.
I mean, Sean, that last map itself was just crazy.
It was insane because Gambit was on their A game, right? They had massive individual plays coming out of every player, and you would typically see an underdog team kind of falter in those moments and just not show up. That wasn't the case. Crew pushed Gambit to the and it required some heroic plays out of Chronicle specifically.
Yeah, I think Chronicle had a day and a half, and for the entire squad, they're hoping that they can run it back here today to sort of solidify that win. One of the hardest games for me to predict today as well, so that just goes to show the level of competition,
So good.
Yeah, yesterday set the bar very high, but I'm hoping that we can break that bar today, but we're going to take a quick break here. Don't go anywhere, guys. We have a very special guest joining us for the pre-show right after this.
NFT इन्वेस्ट करेगा, उसके बारे में मेरे को अलग से बात कर. कॉल पे बात करना कल, तो थोड़ी देर के बाद कर, रुक जा. कल इवनिंग में करते हैं. अबे अभी करना, अभी फ्री है ना तो. अभी रिसर्च कर रहा थोड़ा. ठीक है, वेट कर. मेरे को सब पता है, लेकिन बात कर तो क्या सीन है वो बता मेरे को. क्रिप्टो कॉइन का सीन चल रहा है ना, इसलिए डाउट है और कुछ नहीं. हाँ वो पता है मेरे को, मैं भी अभी उसी लिए कुछ नहीं कर रहा हूँ. हाँ चलिए मस्ता है. अभी वो रिस्की होगा बे, अभी वो नहीं कर सकते हम. जब तक वो बिल पास नहीं होगा ना, 2 वीक के बाद पता चल जाएगा जो भी है क्रिप्टो का. अभी वो बिल पास होने दे, गवर्नमेंट बिल पास करी तब सब पता चलेगा. अबे वो सब मेरे को पता है, तू खुद भी बना सकता है, लेकिन खुद बनाने के लिए भी सीन चाहिए. मैं तुझे बात करता हूँ, वो सब मुझे बनाना आता है. बनाने में कुछ नहीं होता है ब्रो, तू कुछ भी डाल सकता है.
Because we've got Zed on the desk with us. Welcome.
Oh
Zed.
yeah,
Not
Zed
a-
big.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Apne
yeah.
phantom wala.
He's born in Germany. You're from
I'm
here?
born in Russia.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I grew up in
okay.
Germany. And I
Grew
live
up
in
in
America.
Germany?
So a
Okay.
little bit of
You're
everything.
all over.
I have a sneaky feeling on which team you might be backing for the finals today.
I don't want to.
Phantom wala aaya.
But if you make me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, I don't have to say it out loud. But
It's Gambit. We know it's Gambit. Have you been
भाई
watching
Gambit
the
ने
games
क्या
at
कर
all?
रखा है वे सब
as
Gambit
much as I
Gambit
could.
कर रहे
I was
हैं.
watching it last night in my bathtub until like 1 a.m. or whenever it was done, and I was falling asleep because I'm so
Inverse
jet lagged. I was like,
mode.
I need to see how this ends, and it wasn't ending.
What the
It
heck?
was amazing. That's incredible. Such a good game.
Yeah, we were like that as well. We felt that way.
It was insane.
It was
What did you think
unreal.
of the LATAM crowd? Did you see that? The crew
The what, sorry?
crowd? The crowd that came to watch the crew game?
Oh, outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
so
crazy.
cool. I couldn't
Yeah,
believe
yeah, yeah.
that. It just popped up like overnight.
When
Yeah.
we have a crowd at Valorant Champions, that's going to be insane as well in the stadium. But one thing that both Sean and I really wanted to ask you, I think definitely more Sean,
Yes.
is with the skins. You know, we saw your skin
Yeah.
collection drop earlier
भाई
this
वो
year.
Tomorrowland
Tell us
में
about the
गाना
involvement you
बजाता है
had.
वो सब
Yeah,
छोड़.
it was an idea. I think I started playing Valorant in the during the alpha, like really early, and I loved the game. So we were just kind of like, hey, I would love to do something for the game.
अबे वो
So we
alpha
kinda started
player है.
brainstorming,
कब से खेल रहा है
and,
मतलब?
I wanted to make a skin really based around the sound, because I think it's really influential how a gun sounds and feels. So we started last year, at the end of last year. So it was a really long process. And we achieved so much more than we thought we could do within the time frame we had. So just a really big shout out
Yeah.
to the team, because those guys were working so hard to make my ridiculous requests come true.
Dude,
that was awesome.
They had only positive things to say about you, because I
Oh.
actually had a dinner with them in LA, and they were stoked on how involved you were in the process. You know, there wasn't an agent dealing with everything, and you were
Yeah.
very hands-on, and you told them exactly what you wanted, and that's
Yeah.
so cool to me.
It was so fun. It was honestly one of the most fun projects I've done outside of, obviously, my own music.
Yeah.
But outside of that, the team was so inspiring to work with.
PJ
They inspired me to
Delmani.
do more and like dream bigger than we thought we could do. And I love the skin. I've been using it
Yeah.
ever since, and I'm super proud of it.
I do want to say, you said you were sending them some ridiculous requests.
Yeah.
Which part of those requests did they actually manage to materialize?
Oh, a lot, and really even more than I asked for, because we didn't have that much time. Some of those skins take so long to make, so we wanted to be realistic, but I feel like they deployed more people on the skin than we initially planned. I worked overtime, they worked overtime, you know, we worked together in the studio separately. The finisher, for example, was something crazy. The fact that you can swing your knife and it does something. So many little details that I don't know how many people noticed, but they were like, there's a little Zed studio on Breeze, and the music changed, and so many little details that some may or may not have picked up on. But yeah, I mean, the Valorant team was incredible to work with.
There it is.
Oh,
We've
there
got
it is.
We've got it
Yes.
in the AR. I know a lot of players have been using this skin as well.
I
and
saw
अबे
it.
यार AR भी है ये
cool. And I
स्टूडियो
know
में
Zed,
है.
you're a very keen
Holy
Valorant player.
shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go in there and ask you some nerdy questions. What agents do you like? You don't like? What do you think of about the meta and so on?
I love Reyna. Reyna's my girl.
Ooh.
I started with Jet, and I think Reyna is my favorite to play right now, at least. The meta's great, I think. The changes that they've been making, in my opinion, are amazing. There's still some annoying parts. The judge may still be a little bit annoying for me personally. But I think the meta is great. I think that you can play creative. There's not a meta that you have to do to win. And I think we've seen that in the tournament as well. People have been playing different characters than people expected, and it still works. So yeah, I think the game's in an amazing state. Yeah.
That's so awesome, by the way, that you tweet so much about the game. I'm always like retweeting your clips.
Oh,
you post so
thank
many,
you, man.
you post so many aces and stuff. I'm so
Yeah.
stoked on it. But
No,
what
I
do you-
love it, genuinely.
What do you think about the difference between like rank play versus esport play? Like, because it's so different how
Yeah.
organized it looks, right?
It's a tricky balance to find, I think, for a game developer to make a game for mostly casual players, right? That's the vast majority of players. And then there's the ranked players, which I think up until, you know, Immortal 2 or 3, most things don't really matter as much. And then you have Pro Play, which is a whole different league, and you kind of have to satisfy everybody at once. So it's difficult. I'm not one of those people who thinks Jet is overly powerful or has to be like, she's fine the way she is. Leave my jet alone, please.
Yeah, well, you heard it from Zed here. We'll leave the jet,
my jet alone.
Yeah, leave
please.
his jet alone. I love this. I'm interested to see what the fans think about that comment.
Yeah,
but,
they're not going to agree with me, but that's okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, Zed.
you.
This has been an absolute pleasure, and we're
my
looking
pleasure.
forward to the opening ceremony.
Thank
I can't
you.
wait to see it.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you, guys.
we are going to head into another break here, but as Zed said, we have a great grand final as well. He's backing Gambit. I want to see who you guys are backing at home. We're going to be talking more about Acend and Gambit right after this.
ये एक्चुअली आगे चलता है ट्विच, यूट्यूब उसके बाद आता है।
Welcome back to the grand finals of VALORANT Champions. It's time to talk about the finalists, Acend and Gambit. Now, starting with Acend first, you guys. Actually, a fun fact, both of these teams won their regional Masters back at Masters 1. Acend, they were the EU winners. Gambit, they won CIS. But after Acend winning that first Masters, Sean, people were expecting them to go on and do great things internationally, but they've never reached the heights this high.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it has a lot to do with the mental local side, right? We kept seeing Acend falter in these big games on LAN specifically, but that has changed here at Champions. They look like a totally new team.
It really has. You look at the run already here through Champions, and you're looking at a team that only lost their first map. They continue to run the rest of the tournament on their own pace. They have been semi-challenged with 13-10s and the other team having comeback scores, but have we seen them really challenged? I think they've been so strong that they've kind of been running their own game. It's working for them, but can it work against Gambit is a question that comes up.
You know, I feel like Gambit's going to be one of their biggest opponents thus far.
For sure.
And obviously, when you get to the grand finals, that's what you want. You want to incrementally increase the opponents that you get along the way. But then that worries me is that how ready are they going to be for a formidable opponent? How long will that head start that Gambit essentially has going through essentially what I'm calling the ringer so far be here for Acend? That's the only thing after that Team Liquid being off. That's where I'm sort of putting my hedge in my bets a little bit.
I mean, that's kind of the confidence you need, right? This is the perfect time to peak. Peaking a little bit too early, you might fall a little bit later. But speaking of peaking, this guy, Starkso, is just consistently the biggest ball of energy on that stage, Jess.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to highlight him specifically because there was a few moments throughout his last game where he absolutely
24% hit.
And a little nice little B-roll in a moment to show you exactly why. Because when we highlight Starkso being that key player, it's the amount of assisting that he's able to do with the team. But throughout, he had the most multi-kills throughout any player throughout the entirety of that series. I haven't ranked it throughout the entire tournament just yet, but he's in the top 3 at the moment throughout the playoffs, which is amazing. I wanted to get all of those on your screen to just show that in rounds where he doesn't necessarily need to be the multi-kill god, he does manage to do it. And I think that the scoreline with Team Liquid, even if he didn't do it, they still would have won.
Yeah, he's been one of the best guys in this entire event because he's not only using the guiding light for info, he's using it for those multi-frags that you're seeing there. He can do it all. He has the Trailblazer pass, the Seekers planned out. Everything is thought through when you watch Starkso play, and that's what makes him such a special player.
Yeah, and all of this has come under the leadership of their IGL Bone Cold as well. And on the eve of the Champions final, Bone Cold spoke about his excitement on competing on the final stage.
It feels really good to like get into the finals. This is something that I've always dreamed of. I feel like the preparation overall for the tournament has been just amazing for us. You can see your teammates happy right next to you, yelling and screaming your name. Then you make a play, you scream at your teammates and they're making a play. There's just, it's just one of a kind feeling. We're on the same page. Right now we just have the chemistry rolling. I feel like we can speak very openly about
Yo, what's up, brother?
Like everybody takes critique really well. I feel like that's one of the reasons why we are such a consistent high-tier team, is that we have all these things going for us, like the communication, giving critique, sharing emotions, and just being happy overall if we win or we lose. We have known Gambit since like the scrims on Masters 1 all the way to like having a good conversation with them in Masters 3. We know them really well, and we're actually really good friends outside of the game and inside of the game, so I'm very excited to play against them.
I will say that I feel like everybody is friends with Gambit. You can't not be friends with them, but Rib, when
they make you friends with them.
Yeah,
It gives people gifts.
Yeah, you have to be. But I do want to point out Bone Cold, because when he first joined this roster, he wasn't the IGL. That was Cold mentor. He kind of stepped into that role. And Rib, after all of the criticisms everybody had of him after Masters 3, he's improved so much.
Literally, Acend is the word that fits this team so well, because everyone is growing on this squad. The amount of agents they can switch between each other, the way that they play, and just the cooperation to keep going each game and say, no, we don't really look at other teams. We look at how we can continue to prove ourselves, play our game, and set the pace that way.
Yeah, and they're going to have a big task today. Bone Cold's opposite number, Redgar of Gambit. They just played, Sean, the greatest game of Valorant last night. They will probably ever play, so they have a lot of confidence as well coming into this.
Yeah, and the way they got here in this grand finals, Yinsu, totally different from Masters 3 Berlin, right? Nats, he has sub 200 ACS right now.
Yeah.
He was the star player on their team previously. This is a championship caliber team. They have so many different ways pace to win the game that they don't need their star players to perform. They're so well-rounded, and they can play every single match.
Such a good point.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is that we spoke about Nats having to reinvent himself, quote unquote, and I thought to myself, oh, how far down that reinvention will he go? Will he go too far? It'll topple him over. And I sort of, you know, looking at his score at the moment, I've gone, he's hit a nice medium for now, and what the future Nats looks like, who knows?
I'm going to go on a limb and say Chronicle is their star player right now.
Yeah.
It's Chronicle.
For sure.
For sure.
It's been kind of disgusting that he can put up the same type of play across two tournaments that are months apart. There is nothing that phases him.
I mean, if Gambit win this tournament, that ace at elbow will be remembered forever on binds. That should be marked in the side. He need a picture of his face in the
He's
B
not
side.
playing Duelist either.
I mean, he's playing a pseudo. We'll go with that. I'm shouting out to Lothar on this. Is the pseudo duelist?
Sky.
Yeah, you know, she hits it. You know, and
Hey
I
man,
love
what's
Sky.
up?
Everyone knows I
Arey
think
Devsak
the
bhai,
voice there, but
kaise?
I was looking through what he put on the board yesterday, and I was like, wow, he's opening engagements. He was like positive, like 8, 9
actually यार
seconds into
router
that
वालों
game,
को
and the fact that he wasn't the one that was
मैसेज कर रहा हूँ यार, कोई रिप्लाई नहीं दे रहा है.
for the most part,
वो
he
देख
was
रहा था.
super successful on multiple of these rounds. There we
Victor
go.
is
Vandal is
spot
just
वाला.
destructive.
How did he get that last kill, by the way? That was a little bit, that was wild. I shouldn't be
Along with
allowed that.
ADS.
Yeah, it's insane. It's actually insane because his utility usage is phenomenal. It's not just the aim, it's not the ace. If you look at those clips, his utility's gone. He's already used it to help his team get all of the info. The rotations have come in. I mean, what can't he do?
I mean, at this point, I feel like if Gambit are able to perform today, this is the tournament MVP. It has to be. It has to be. And we've spoken a lot about Chronicle already. Let's hear from the man himself. This is what he had to say.
My motivation is actually just only play the game and enjoying it. I am just feeling very happy that every match is really competitive and so hard for me, and that gives me more motivation than ever. The stage gives me more boost. I feel pretty comfortable on it, and my performance on the stage is playing really great on LAN, and I really like it. I'm just waiting for new LAN events in the future. I feel right now we're like a family, and we are just the best friends, and it's so good that I'm playing with them. That will be a really hard match for us. I'm thinking about it, but not so much.
It's too wholesome. It is too wholesome. But I do want to pick up that LAN point because we always have this debate, you know, people that perform online, and we have these LANimals. I feel like he's right up there, if not #1 spot right now in terms of being able to perform on LAN.
Yeah, and I remember back, you know, before Berlin, there was a lot of chirping behind the scenes about Gambit being scrimmers and not being able to perform on LAN. Scrimbit. All of those narratives are gone because of players like Chronicle just dominating the scene. It's so cool.
It's kind of hard to see how you can even stop a player like that when you know firepower is what brings his game to the table. Then, like you said, utility usage. You look at a player like that and you say, how can we actually play around that, away from that? And it just seems like you can't. Gambit, like you said before as well, has a lot of players that will just bring that type of power to the game if it's not Chronicle himself.
I like the fact that he pointed out as well that he was like, I like being like pressured. I like having really strong matchups because then I get motivated more. And I'm sitting here, you know, even as like an ex-support staff going, that's my worst nightmare, is to go up against a player that if you apply pressure will do really well. It's like a diamond in the rough. Like, oh no, we're unlocking the beast by accidentally, you know, putting pressure to him. So shout out to him. He operates really well under it.
Yeah, this Gambit team now gets better under pressure. Remember that Vikings game to get them into the playoffs? The rally they had, they won like 7 straight rounds to get to overtime. 9 straight rounds to overtime, right?
Yeah, they won 9 rounds to win that.
Incredible. That's how they got here. They've lost every series. The resilience on this team. Part of a champion. They don't lose.
But also, I gotta say, these two teams, they know each other well. This isn't like teams that only play each other at international events. I think the record is 2-1 to Acend right now in terms of who's on top. So you could, at some point, we talk about pulling out like a secret strat or something, a joker perhaps, to shock your opponents. And Sean, this is where you need that because they're gonna know what you do.
Yeah, and this is where I'm scared for Gambit, Yensu, because they played 70% more rounds. Like I said, they've lost the map in every single
So much to look at.
Yes,
Yeah.
so much to look at, and they played the late game yesterday. So Acend
Nah,
is
nah,
in the
ठीक है।
driver's seat as far as creating counter strats coming into today, and that is one thing I'm really scared about in this matchup.
Absolutely. I think tempo is one of the biggest things we see from Acend. Just look at their Omen games. That's why you pick up the pace, you bring in the Omen, you go faster. It's something they love to do. And again, I love to reiterate that point that says we don't focus on other teams. We don't counter-strat other teams. We play our game. And that's tough. That's tough to go against.
I said I'd shout it out on the desk. Shout out to Milan, who has done a brilliant job for the side of Acend, the new analyst that's been brought in less than a month ago. And Bone Cold, he said that was part of the reason that they won yesterday, so shout out to him.
Yeah, very excited about this. Thank you very much, guys. I want to give you guys at home an important note.
अबे यार मैच कब चालू कर रहे हो ये बताओ भाई
Fast flashes that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised. And now enjoy the show, guys.
ये बताओ ना मैच अब चालू हो रहा है अबे डीजे बुला लिए क्या हाँ डीजे बुलाए month members ओ भाई सिंगर विंगर लेके आए वेलोरेंट वाले
this is sacrificial. I think it's a sure sign. We should be rolling with the divine. Maybe we can reach the heavens, a dancing hellfire. And if they say it's not right, maybe I don't see you wanna stay blind. Cause you feel like an angel, and we're doing fine. I feel it all the time, the heavy weight of your love. I'd put it on the line. I would give it right up, like ooh, now. Baby, it's official, this is sacrificial, like ooh, now. Baby, it's official, this is sacrificial, hey! Baby, with the pain, with the sacrifice. Baby, it's official, this is sacrificial, hey! Baby, with the pain, with the sacrifice. Baby, with the pain, with the sacrifice. Where do I begin? I can't explain it. Now you're wasted. Photos fading in, I see him changing. All the faces. Seeing red flags in the morning. It's a warning, a warning. Where do I begin? I can't explain it. Now you're wasted. How could you let them do? Oh, it's so you. How could you let them turn you into a monster? You're decided to burn where you were frosted. I guess you never learned till you live and you lost it. Live and you lost it.
Please stop. Oh भाई ये कौन है? किधर गया? Please stop. ये लिखो. ये देखो. This is Valorant. Is this the Valorant channel? What the fuck? Bro. ये बोला just play man. Shout out Cyber.
Going on a whim, try to erase it. All the traces. How could you let them do? Oh, it's so you. How could you let them try?
ये देखो. No singer is the best song. The website say game start now. भाई ठीक है भाई. ये सब करवा लो है वेलो. अरे साढ़े ऐसे कभी ओमेन पे एंट्री लिया था तुम्हारे गेम में? ये ही करना चाहिए रायट वालों को अभी, ये ही चीज करनी चाहिए जो ये अभी कर रही है ना, सेम चीज जो खेलवाना है यहाँ पे, वो खेल हो नहीं रहा है, दूसरा यहाँ पे चल रहा है। और कुछ बाकी था? ओ बहुत सारा बाकी है अभी तो। नहीं तुम लोग ये कर लो, मैं कल आता हूँ। तब तक अपन वैलो देखते हैं भाई खुद। अबे ये सब तो वैलोरेंट के सिनेमैटिक्स के गाने हैं। गई वैलोरेंट गई। वैलोरेंट लॉन्च नहीं हुआ अबे, सर्वर गया। हाँ बोल। हेलो आई वो हाँ हाँ ओ हुआ चालू हुआ, वेलो चालू हुआ, वेलो चालू हुआ, वेलो चालू हुआ, हुआ गुल्लू ओ गुल्लू
भाई
देखा कि नहीं इनका देखा कि नहीं? ये वैलोरेंट वाले भाई, वैलोरेंट वाले फाइनल्स में सब गाना वाना बजा रहे भाई। टूर्नामेंट तो साइड पे रह गया है, वो लोग गाना बजा रहे हैं। मैं आया, रुक नीचे जाके, तब तक तो खत्म कर।
Our friend Zed, you know, casually on the bass there.
That's our boy. That's our boy. Just tier 1 music, tier 1 competition. It doesn't get any better.
Wow, that is an incredible bit of production there, and it happened right outside the door here. I can't believe it. The vibes are so high right now.
Yeah, I love the. You mentioned this when we were watching this, Rib. The like sprays and the finishes in the screen.
Everything was coming. You saw the little glitch pop things. You saw a little the king. Oh my word!
Easter eggs were everywhere.
There was a lot of Easter eggs.
We're gonna have to go hunting after this for sure. All of you.
Get your baskets ready. I'm going.
The Reddit threads are going to be interesting on that one, but I feel like we raised the bar like too high. Like, how do we beat that in future champions? I'm sure we'll find a way, but
we're gonna have to start a band.
Yeah. Put us on. But I do like in Chronicle's interview last night, he mentioned the song. He was like, I came out here to do what the lyrics said in the song, you know, like I'm gonna come out here and win the tournament. I love how much this means to people.
I love it. And that remix was banging. Oh my God.
That was really good. You know, if we need a bass player, I hear Zed's pretty good on the bass. So like, just saying.
Yeah, well, after that incredible ceremony, we're going to take a quick breather, but don't go anywhere, guys. The championship match between Gambit and Acend is up next.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
time slows down when it can get no worse. Wishing there was something left to lose. This could be the day I die for you.
Welcome back once again to the grand finals of Valorant Champions. I'm back on the desk with Sean, Riv, and Jess. Let's talk about the nuances of this best of 5. In the past, we've seen teams have massive advantages, particularly through the ban phase. We saw Gambit, forced to play Haven back at Masters 3. But Sean, this time around, things are a little different.
Yeah, things are a lot different. Now we have 7 maps, guys. We have Fracture added into the pool. So when we get to this grand final stage where it's a best of 5, both teams will get a veto. So they'll get to ban out a map that they think they're really weak on, or the other team is super strong on. And in Acend's case, dear God, are they strong on Bind, Riv. They've won countless matches in a row, and they actually 13-0'd Gambit at Red Bull home ground.
Yeah, they were having a lot of fun spicing up those maps at Red Bull.
Yeah.
Here we have, unfortunately, Bind torched immediately, banned out.
This is interesting because I've never seen Gambit ban anything else other than Haven. But, Jess, in this scenario, we might not even see Haven anyway because Acend also don't like it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, get rid of the worst devil of them all, and that's going to be, Bind there. For me, Haven coming out is not a surprise as well. The 2 bans I expected coming in are gone, but let us not forget, this is a best of 5. You essentially have to be good at almost every single map except for 2. And then you were hoping that you'll get those maps in an order that will sort of be a little bit more praising of the way that you go on those maps, so the first 3 at the very least.
Yeah, and Breeze is locked in straight away for Gambit. No surprises there, Sean.
No surprise at all. Both of these teams, though, are actually very, very good on Breeze, and this is CNED's playground. He dominates the map.
This map goes to operators as fast as possible for both of your operators.
Yes.
And whoever is lacking that, I feel like is going to start dropping rounds right away. This game is going to be protecting your operators and making sure those long angles are always held.
Ooh, I love Acend as well. Acend's one of my favorite maps to watch overall. Outside of Breeze and the long range maps like Icebox and stuff, I'm a big operator fan, so of course I look there. But when you get onto Acend, I feel like there's so much strategy that comes into play in utility usage. That's why I'm going to be looking to there. Maybe we go from map 1, the ops, to map 2, the utility.
The utility usage is something special because Zeke, who's the top performer on Acend, not Zed, it's Zeke. He plays the KO on Acend.
Let's go.
And he was tearing it off assist-wise. He gets so much value out of his utility.
For Acend as well, Gambit had the no duelist comp. Are they going to run that again? And we see Fracture now coming in too.
And we're not going to have a chance to avoid it. That's what I didn't want. I didn't want it to go into like the last couple of maps and then like we have maybe not a possibility of seeing it. You are guaranteed to see Fracture in the finals, baby. Let's go.
Is this the first time we've seen Breeze and Fracture in a series? Because people seem to have, they either lean towards one or the other, but having both in the first 3 maps is going to be incredible. But Icebox, Sean, is next for Acend.
Yeah, it's a map that both of these teams have kind of strayed away from. Their map pools are very similar other than Bind. I think this is a great draft right now from Acend because I would actually give them the edge on Icebox.
Yeah, for sure. We talked about it earlier just off the desk in that Nats does not have the same effect as he did when he was in Berlin. We're seeing people have actually focused that, and his encroachment into defending positions or attacking, depending on what side he is not working as much.
I mean, remember what Vikings did to them? Let us not forget that they were struggling to work it out. And every time Vikings went up to like attack a spawn and whatnot, they just looked. They flicked across and like, is Nats there? Is Nats in spawn? Yes, he is. Good night. And he had to keep sort of moving himself across the map, and he couldn't lurk the way he wanted to lurk. So shut down on that map. I'm excited for this. This is looking good so far.
Yeah, and Split will be left until the last one too. So we got Breeze, Acend, Fracture, Icebox, Split. You know, looking at the bans though, Riv, it feels like Gambit being able to take away the bind and Haven for them is great. It's a great start.
It has to feel good because we've seen how aggressive they are on the other maps, where they actually position and prioritize what Chronicle would be doing if Defo can just get that operator as well. Shados has been stepping up. So the way that the maps work out for them means that they can play their own game and they don't have to be reserved and almost play to the level of Ascend on Bind or
But
Haven.
I'm going to say this, guys. If they banned Haven instead of Fracture, Ascend has not played Fracture all tournament. What does that say about the Fracture? They must feel very comfortable with it to float that in this best of 5.
Yeah, you say that, but they were talking about the counter strategies. I'm wondering whether or not they're not playing their own game anymore. They saw what happened with Liquid. They saw how successful it was to counter their opponent. Do they just, because they've already seen it, just go, we know exactly what you do. Here's the agents that will combat that. Here's what we do, and good night, we shut you down before you begin.
Well, let's see what they can do. A little bit later, the maps are in, but before we welcome the players to the stage, let's take one last look at the journey that brought them to the Champions Grand Finals.
To be honest, after that game, I'm emotional right now.
No one believed in us. We put ourselves.
I have to forget about what just happened. I have to think on the opponents.
Hello. Just gonna show them who is Acend.
ये चला गया क्या रितम? गया ले
Finals, I don't know if I can put it in words. You just have like constant adrenaline just pumping. Mentally, I am totally ready to win Champions, but the job's not yet finished.
They're the strongest opponents right now. On this match, we can show our max potential.
It's gonna be a hard match for them, not like in semi-final. Just understand that history is still writing.
We will come as the first champions.
We'll see what will happen.
अब और कोई गाना नहीं चाहिए प्लीज. एस्कर ऑसी लिख रहे हो यहाँ पे सब. भाई ये एआर सिस्टम लगाया है ना उन लोग ने वहां पे. ये दिखता है वहां पे 3D भाई सेक्सी. दोनों के कोच। ये इसको देखो और इसको देखो भाई, प्रोफेशनल लग रहा है ये घूमने आया है क्या?
Wow, an entire year worth of blood, sweat and tears has led to this moment, guys. One of these teams will be making history today by lifting the trophy as the first ever winners of VALORANT Champions. They're going to go down in history book, guys. Nobody's ever going to forget whichever team wins today.
God, that trophy is so epic. I can't wait to see it.
Don't take it away!
Yeah, don't take
Bring it back!
Oh man, what an epic intro.
I saw them pull it out of the case. It was like buffed with all this like bubble wrap and soft kind of stuff, and he pulls it out. And as he pulls it out like a baby, he caresses it. And I was like, how heavy is it? And he goes, it is heavy as heck. So whoever picks it up at the end, they've got to be ready to be able to hoist that heavy thing.
I also want to say that I don't think I've ever seen a grand finals of any esports tournament where the two IGLs come out hugging arm in arm like they're best friends walking down the park or something. But it goes to show, you know, how much camaraderie and respect they have for each other.
I can't imagine that they are coming in underestimating each other at all.
No.
What they've seen throughout each other's play, what this means to them, a year's long worth of work going into these games, they're leaving nothing to chance.
Friends out of the server, Yinsu.
Yes.
Absolute enemies in the server.
I don't think they'll leave anything at the front door, that's for sure. They want this. Both of them want this. And I think they gave the warning that what they went through in the semi-finals is not what they should expect in the grand finals.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to see any dance routines on the side of Stark, so as well to see what he's going to bring out today. A lot of sheeshes we're hearing behind us. First map, because we are heading into the Prime Gaming Agent Select. It's unlikely, Sean, that either teams are going to switch things up after the success they've had here.
No, yeah, I don't think we're going to see any surprises.
Therefore, checkmate over.
Gambit, like I said earlier, they didn't have much time to change things. So yeah, we're seeing the try.
Oh, okay. We are seeing something different. Chronicle is back on the Killjoy. He was playing the Sky for the last two breezes here, and now he has said already publicly he prefers to play Killjoy here.
That's very interesting because he's had so much success in this initiator role, the top performer on the team and the only player on Gambit in the top 10 in ACS.
You know what this does really well? One, Acend, I've already, you know, praised them for having really good analysts and counter strategies. One, that throws a wrench in it. Number two, Chronicle is in the zone. This sets a precedent for a map that we won't expect because Acend will have prepped for something completely different here.
Being able to bring out something new here, I think it trends for Acend to be like, yeah, we're not
Acend,
going to focus on what our team's playing, because that's what can happen, right? You don't want to be going for a loop if you're expecting a Cypher or something to be in that position all the time. So I love the fact that Gambit can pull that out, and maybe it will throw Acend for a loop.
And meanwhile, on Acend, the tried and true, right? Zeke locking in that KO, and I mentioned he was banging all tournament with KO. Going into the semis, guys, he was the #1 player in assists. That means his KO was through the roof. He was suppressing everyone. His timings with the 0 point have been so good. The pre-0 points over elbow on
And it's
Grease.
something they've brought in since Masters 3.
Yeah. This is a new look.
Yeah, I wonder if this is done specifically to counter that KO. Who knows? But before we jump into game, I need to know the final prediction from you guys. Who are you backing to win this series? Jess has the curse right now, so I'll start with you.
Oh no. And the reason I've gone with this prediction is because I love both of these teams. I love all the players, but I really think the
Why Gambit 62 million?
Right now, all the counter strategies. As an ex-analyst and coach myself, I'm going to throw my hats to them. So I'm going with Acend. You guys, let's see if the work has gone through today.
Wow, Riv?
Looking at how far they've come, what they've been able to put together, the strength in this tournament, they may not have played as many rounds as Gambit so far, but I am locking in Acend for this one. Rise, Acend, rise! A little bit more, break through any other ceilings that you hit.
This side of the desk?
Let's see what you got.
Yes.
Sure?
Yeah. I hate to do this because I think the game is so 50-50, but Acend were my dark horse coming into this tournament, and man, have they lived up to my expectations. I'm sticking with Acend.
Let's go!
I think they're taking this series, but this is the only opponent that will test them, right?
Okay,
Liquid didn't keep the maps close, so Acend didn't even have the option to choke. Gambit will not have that same thing happen.
Serious firepower.
And Gambit doesn't choke either. God, this was such a difficult decision for me.
Yeah, same.
I mean, looking at the 5 maps, do we feel like this is the first grand final where we're going to actually go to 5 maps?
I think it's so possible. It's very,
especially
very
with
likely.
what we're seeing here. If both teams come in not with their favorites and they have to push into these 50-50 maps that both teams will have an attack side or a defensive advantage on, you definitely see fight.
Well, the desk are very Ascend heavy here. Turkey are going to love you guys for that, but it's time for us to jump into Breeze with your casters for today. It's Pansy and Hypog.
Okay, we are being presented with such a treat in front of us. Now, I have to put it quite bluntly here. We've seen a great deal of Gambit. They've had to show a good amount of depth throughout this event.
facecam
Pulling away in the shadows. Not many people paying mind to them as they rightly should have been. Where do you stand?
It's really interesting, and again, seeing the journey of Ascend, this is almost kind of the second coming of Ascend, right? We had that almost dip, you could call it, throughout the mid-year, and
ये यार सिस्टम बहुत सेक्सी है भाई ये एक्चुअली वहाँ पे हो रहा है
Ascend have actually fixed some of the issues you'd have with a concern coming into this matchup, particularly against Gambit.
Well, deep breaths, everyone. We are 10 seconds away from starting up here. And again, we've talked about the art of greatness throughout this entire event, time and time again. And remember, great moments are born from great opportunity that these both now have. Gambit on the attacking side, Ascend on the defending side. We're right into this.
Yeah, actually, the Trailblazer straight up elbow. If I'm trying to follow it up here. Just sitting tight in nest right now, but it's a heavy lean towards B site here on the side of Ascend. I'm not actually going to be able to avoid this owl drone here, but I see that's just going to take first contact. Deals with Defo immediately.
Yeah, a little bit of a return fire from Shados, but it's quick and it's Ascend really sending a stark message to begin with. 2 quick kills and you lose out on Defo and Shados. 2 big instigators on this attacking side. So now looking at what's left, Nats, Redgar, Chronicle. A tough predicament to be presented with, and now a last-minute Aileen. Now the spike is on the way. You can see Nats slowly closing in towards Killers. Killers better be aware that he's not so safe, and you can see that paranoia starting to build.
Nats tagged up a little bit, actually going to get confirmation here, but also going to hear out these steps in spawn. We have to relay that information, so Nats got a lot to deal with here. If they swing together, he's going to get detected here as well.
Yeah, he's going to be noted pretty quickly. Redgar's gone down. Nats is only good for 1. It's on Chronicle now. V4, and it's gone quickly. Ascend, hey, let's talk about this now. That's 4 standing, that's confidence building. This is a perfect beginning in map 1.
And again, we're coasting through that. The perfect setup again, anticipating Gambit showing a little presence towards B, and actually the pistol round in particular, but potentially towards the side of the top, which is always important. Again, on Breeze, you got to consider that rotation factor, and again, now it's going to give them the opportunity to, I guess on some of these buy rounds, explore mid, and maybe get a little bit aggressive, stop Gambit in their tracks, but again, just looking clean. It's almost like they're completely anticipating that hit. They were set up perfectly for it.
Now, when you see Breeze, though, and you see Ascend, my mind goes, funny enough, to 100 Thieves. Right? Is it just me?
I'm glad we've got there so early, because that's, again, probably the biggest stumble throughout the year.
It's a quarterfinal, I believe, in Berlin last time around, where everyone suddenly went, oh, wait.
Should have been a 9-3.
Should have.
It was an 8-4.
So oh,
bach gaya. You all know how that one ended. Again, one of the craziest comebacks I think we've seen.
Absolutely. But this has to then echo a little bit of something for Ascend. There has to be that little bit of worry in the mind, but with every single frag that comes in for them right now, it's looking clean. But there's a crunch coming in through towards that B side. Starzo's just fine, though. He can fall back, hopefully wait for some support. There are 3 players looking for angles, and he's finding every single answer to them so far. That's with a good shot, but it's a 1v3, and it's not looking so likely. Caught in the heels and put to bed by CNED. It's 2 on the board, and Ascend keep 3 alive.
We'll carry some of that momentum across, some early progress towards the Viper's Pit. Starzo. See what they can get done here. And again, this is another opportunity where potentially Ascend now can quick Gambit ahead of a site hit. And Viper will actually invested pretty early on here. And that's going to be an indicator. We can see the setup here. The 4-man lean towards A. And body's in position again, and look towards Zeke here in a pivotal position, holding onto the stairs here to make sure that Nats once again can't lean deep into halls. Again, actually, looking like they might walk it as
See
2
the
here.
walk, yeah. Now Defo's battle will rage on as long as Bone Cold doesn't overextend. Let's see if there's impact elsewhere. It's going to put into a tough scenario, having to deal with this push coming up tube. 2 players going to turn the screws on it. Nats doing Nats thing, says hello. Starzo, are you going to try and play Viper against me? That's crazy. For now, though, Gambit are doing well. They're keeping the rifles in the right place, and they're not really falling foul to any of these little bits of trickery. Now, yes, maybe Acend with a rifle could find a bit of work here. Spike is down, though, and Bone Cold gets caught. So now Acend left in a bit of a spot of bother.
He's a little tagged up, so I don't know, he's going to look to do some damage. Shadows has got himself tucked all the way into defender's spawn.
Sky ko dekho.
Gambit, no danger as of yet. Again, just look at that. It's something that we see Nats become more and more comfortable doing, right? It's the walk up, it's the pick up. Yeah, actually missing on the first shade off. We'll clean it up. But again, Nats is, again, it's so brazen, right? It's almost like that pressure comes through on Halls. It's noted by Bone Cold. I'm pretty sure he's comfortable in calling 2 out there with Trailblazer as well. And Nats just walks up, literally walks up. And Green
भाई कल मैच बहुत बेकार गया. क्यों कल कौन सा
an
मैच
awful
था?
lot in terms of setup there. The Acend changed. I've been playing
कल कौन सा मैच?
where they give up sight and potentially.
अच्छा TL वाला परसों का ना कि कल था? Team Liquid परसों का है bro.
The operator. Round 4 here.
2-0 से आ रही.
A good start though for himself, so why not? But let's see what the adjustment, if there is one coming out from Gambit, if they consider this a possibility. But already going to give away somewhat of the game, trying to play it through elbow, and Shados gets a freebie. Bone Cold going to be livid with that. Shados going to try and power forward. Yeah, oh, he almost caught Killers as well. Finest of margins here, but they actually peel away from this.
Feel a bit of pressure.
बच गया.
Actually, you see here, Chronicles found some space towards double doors. You're absolutely right, Lauren.
I wonder if audio cues have been heard, maybe even spotting stars, or maybe not. Maybe just the intuition kicking in, but he has to facilitate this somewhat, and timing is on his side. They've just about spotted each other. Utility goes down, I think, towards either site or main, so they're aware the hit's going to be leaning this way. They can leave Acend lingering towards that B site, as now Chronicle starts to build through. Lovely work from him. Good spray, no connect, but it's Redguard to find it. So now the site should at least be available enough, and Chronicle will overextend.
The tricky spot here. Hunter's Fury actually going to get sent through from Redguard. He actually found a tag inside. Back at Halls he did. Keyless will fall. Just Zeke and Acend to try and recover this now.
I don't see Gambit getting overzealous. I don't think they're going to overpeak on this. I think they're going to sit real keen, play this smart, and not give away any opportunity.
अरे bro,
jump peek, that's
कल नहीं था वो परसों था.
Reassure positioning. What? Zeke? 2 kills out of nowhere, and suddenly this round becomes a little bit more viable, but time is the biggest problem. Oh my word, Zeke. Is this when you're going to step up and deliver? But it's going to be Chronicle. The bottom line, Zeke! The timing, I don't think he's going to have the time. Surely! Surely! Oh my god, Zeke has just destroyed them.
That was absolutely insane from Zeke, landing absolutely everything.
Gambit were halfway out the door. Gambit were like, we're fine, we're absolutely fine, and then this happens.
Oh my god. I can't believe, again, like you said, Chronicles, look at this on the X-ray. Chronicles like, yeah,
Bro, 10 HP, literally 10 HP था ये.
Zeke actually got off the defuse there before the half. Again, at that point you think, well, yeah, there it's done for. What an insane round from Zeke, and again.
हाँ भाई Scream तो अच्छा खेला है, लेकिन team अगर यहाँ कुछ नहीं हो सकता.
Which is something previously lacking, right? It was all about that initial aggression for Acend.
And look, how many times have we told the story of Acend and Starzo and a couple of the other players, and Zeke was this hot prospect who got picked up and we were waiting to see if he could activate, find that role, and he's found more than that already. And you've got to say, losing a 2v4, 5 almost there, that's going to be a tilter for Gambit.
Bye.
Let's see if they can keep that known composure, but Zeke ain't stopping. He's right back at it. Just straight onto Chronicle. He's feeling this game. He's got that hot hand where everything makes sense, but a quick piece in towards the B site. Now, we already know there's one player here. Killers does find one, and Defo's none the wiser. He's gone away with murder from this corner. A free little upgrade as well, leaving Nats and Redgar with nothing to do but die, surely. Yeah, Nats is on one side of the map, but look what the spike is.
Unretrievable now. You can see already the body's in place. 4 people here to hold on to it. And again, just Zeke comes through, throws the fragment in, deals with the lockdown. That protects the Viper's pit set up towards A main. Forces Gambit's hand in terms of rotation.
Split में एज भी लिया था जब उस पास वैंडल आया. मैंने कल का मैच नहीं देखा.
We'll find Redguard. Nats, the last one to come. 20 seconds, a 1v4.
Well, Zeke's shown that there's possibilities, but I think that Nats knows with that Spike's positioning, they're going to swarm that. Unretrievable.
and Acend.
10 seconds left.
You couldn't ask for
Looking
a better
fiery.
start.
Fiery.
Let's roll it back, right? Let's talk bigger picture now, because I think Gambit we've looked at considerably, and no matter the scenario, there's always a chance with them, right? They are one of the true tested teams who consistently find that ability to run it back into the game, no matter the scoreline. Acend, I'm still unsure if they can do that grind back, but do they have to?
The problem being, I think throughout this year, you've
Best of 5.
Acend and thought, yeah, very fast and loose again. How much can they replicate that in terms of teams that don't match up? And Gambit, I think, is actually one of those examples. You say they play so slow that it could cause a lot of problems for Acend, right? But they burn out very quickly in the early round. But one of the things Acend have really tightened up is their late round, their audible calling. And again, it comes back to Zeke in terms of this utility cycle, and he's such a huge factor in that regard.
Well, it'll be Zeke and Gilles. Over towards the B site.
Best of 5 है, best of 5.
Note of player
AC versus Steel का मैच था ना? हाँ, वो मुझे पता है हार गए, लेकिन देखा नहीं था मैंने.
From Acend takes a little bit of an early battle, but don't overcommit, fall away. Now utility gets noted and the push looks like it's coming in. It's a bit of a shaky buy. Nat's the only one really with a rifle, and Gilles still just keeps away. How is he not getting noted at this point? So many rounds, he's getting away from these dirty little angles. Oh, comes in, and Gilles sends it right back. That's his site, and you are not getting into it. Spike once again down behind enemy lines. Over a minute on the board. Where do they find any avenue in here?
Again, that's the Spectre and the rifle removed from Gambit. Spike again on site. The one thing actually finding that Viper's pit, but Keyless aggressively pushes in. Use that before it becomes a problem. Zeke. Sheriff in hand. Again, at this point, don't even discuss the economy. It's not a massive dent, even if he finds 1 or 2 here. But again, that's when it's scariest, right? Acend, if they can dig their heels in, they look so comfortable when they're set up to greet any team. Once they hit that site, again, the way they play crossfires, they bait each other into these awkward little angles, and it just looks so comfortable for them.
I feel like we saw that in the semi-final to get here.
You know, it was so apparent versus Liquid, because Liquid wanted to play so, they wanted to play, and again, every single time, Acend looked dominant.
Nice try, baby.
And I do want to let's say when we just really started paying attention to Valorant, and you've seen this rise of Gambit. There was a king before them. There was another team in EMEA that was constantly towards the top that beat Heretics at the start, and it was Acend. And these guys somewhat fell into the shadows, I'd say, during that quarterfinal loss, couple of underperformances. But now we've seen this rekindling of that fire.
Hindi आएगा यहाँ पे. अभी आएगा.
You look at
from
what we knew regionally of Acend, and we saw the peaks, right? We saw the ceiling for this team, and translating that is always difficult. Again, experience is something you have to consider. I know in that 100 Thieves matchup, the number of times.
How often can we say it?
Yeah, the number of times we're thinking high pressure scenario, Acend actually fumbled a massive lead there, and actually getting to match point. I think having 5 opportunities to close that out, and those are the things that do become very concerning. Now, this time around, it's a completely different monster. Like they
this
have
is night and day.
Yeah, exactly.
And hey, this is a marathon. This isn't a sprint. It's best of 5 times, so it's a longer series. I don't want to ever just lean away from Gambit. That's stupid.
Well, this is the thing. Later in the series, you lean back towards favoring Gambit. Again,
Yes,
they're not the ones that choke. They pull off these mammoth comebacks. And again, you talk about a comeback versus Acend. If they don't start strong and set themselves up for success, that's when Acend looks shaky.
ये दोनों के बारे में नहीं पता.
Even a CNET factor, right? We've talked about other series where
Gambit अच्छा खेला ना, एक बार तो जीत गया Gambit.
CNET will drop 30.
नहीं वो Genji थी. नहीं वो Gambit ही थी. एक बार जीत गई ना. Last VCT जीते ना वो लोग.
They never give up.
No, they are relentless.
They come back in with thrifty rounds when they're like 7 rounds down, and that's the one that turns an entire map.
We can get into that if it comes apparent, because you talk about in-game leadership, you talk about the coaching element. There's a lot of factors beyond just the players on the screen right now. But at 5-1, Acend are sending a rather poignant statement. Already Seeker's going to come out though, so Gambit are not wasting any time here. A quick mid-piece, looks like they want to set the tone. What? And Cena just doesn't like the song they're singing. Already with a connection towards Shados, it's converted down to Nats, Redgar, and Defo. But look at the space, they've garnered a fair amount here. But already Zeke seems hyper-cognizant of it. He's already watching this push through.
TL को screen क्यों दिस जाता ना? अरे अरे.
Looking to close.
ये डेफो मस्त खेलता है, पता नहीं आज क्या सीन है उसका.
To CNET in particular, but see actually the spike making its way back over.
Jet में ना वो हीरा.
Towards A. Still 2 players on the side of Acend to greet this A main push if it does come.
They still haven't cleared.
क्यों को देखो मैं यहीं पे खड़ा कब से?
They have to re-explore, exactly. There's so many like dirty little angles they can find. Nat's actually going to get found with the spike inside. Hall's that.
Oh no, the opportunity might have just slipped through his fingers. He keeps control of it for now. Defo does well to get away with that. That was actually looking very one-sided, but now down to the 3v2. Redgar and Defo still trying to find that spike and build it back through. They're trying to isolate Starzo, who's on the stairs. That could be a catch-off, and it is. Good pick from Redgar there.
So गया. मुझे पता था.
He kept calm under pressure. Bone Cold being ice cold. Acend starts around, ends around, and we carry on. Acend keep powering forward.
Again, it's almost like it's just coming down to 1 or 2 aim fights here, and unfortunately can't get.
ये लोग angle check नहीं कर रहे.
Convert into side control into something like that. Again, we've seen so much variation.
What? ये कुछ अलग था भाई.
Yeah, just
must be nice.
Just run that one another 3 times if possible.
He's quite good at this game, isn't he?
Yeah.
And
well, if that's the Acend we get today, again, we come back to concerns, right?
We do.
There's a lot of pressure on a player that's come under a bit of flack, and it's Defo, right? It's the opposite number.
And I will be the first to say Defo on LAN looks completely different to how he does online sometimes. But he does now need to find it against a superstar. Acend is a superstar in this game, and Defo, I need to see a little bit of that jet magic coming from him. But the site, a very patient hold, a very deep hold. Starzo sitting back by Tribox. They've got a very deep post-plant positioning potentially, or maybe with that Hunter's Fury, they feel like they want to lean towards that a little more.
Defo Turkey का नहीं. ये Turkey का है.
Starzo still holding a good amount of territory. There's that ult coming in as considered. Doesn't get everything, but Starzo does. Acend looks so polished. Nats, you've got a 1v5 in a space.
Acend जीतने वाला बे.
The diffuser's already come in. I don't think you do anything about this one. Acend are looking like a different beast right now. Everything is going their way.
Gambit गया. Acend जीतने वाला.
Nats has shown presence a couple of times, and Hall's there. He's looking to be kind of a late round piece, but setting up, playing distance, it almost looks awkward there. Defo, I think, oversteps the mark slightly, but he's desperate to find that open. He's desperate to try and weaken this hold that Acend have on a side.
मेरे को भी stretch पे खेलना भी कैसा खेलते stretch पे.
And can we just highlight for a moment? They just made that look easy against Gambit, and no one makes anything look easy against Gambit.
They literally strolled back onto the side there.
And they seem so hyper aware that that was the way they wanted to play it. You already had Starzo back at Tribox, sitting super passive, patiently playing off the back of the ult. And we've seen this mid piece before, but they're being a little bit more patient with it this time.
पूरा nest छोड़ दिया.
Look, maybe an adjustment from Gambit. Right
side there
on the op. Money is there.
Okay. गया वो spam में.
Information here from the owl drones.
Okay.
Again, going to try and avoid this spam as best he can. Lots being invested to try and clear him out here, actually.
हिंदी में केमा.
Back through.
हिंदी में थोड़ी होता है bro.
This time, so expecting Gambit to just solely try and work a pick here.
1 minute में आया.
Yeah, that poised nature coming out from Gambit, but does this...
This is where Acend have got great. They're taking this space now. Again, now the rotation comes through from Chronicle.
Yes.
The alarm bot's removed. The turret's still there. Whether or not it's actually going to spot anything. Just wait until it gets dealt with here. So Gambit now...
They have to. Doubling
to,
back on 30 seconds, you can't do anything about it. So now keep your eye towards the likes of Zeke, who sat towards the corner here. Still has flashes. Killers can't watch his cross anymore, so he's a little isolated.
Bye.
And he's not wrong, and he's still
right
on one. Great trade from Defo.
Short with
Very
Defo.
clear from Defo. How's he found this little bit of momentum? Nats pushes forward, secures CT. Bone Cold from the backside does at least get one, but now it's down to 2. Acend and Bone Cold spike. Yet to go down. Where is this? Hold on, 5 seconds. Acend just has to live. Nats, can you find the final player?
Gaya.
Don't go down in there. That's the worst game of hide and seek Nats has ever played.
अबे ये लोग plant क्यों नहीं किए?
Around like that, Gambit have all the indicators of what's going to happen, and when I think actually the turret is dealt with by Defo, he has to deal with that so that the information's not given over, and still they're too slow to react.
Defo doing this?
Yeah.
Look at this. This shot. The site's yours. You've got to feel that's our first big chance.
Plant ही नहीं कर रहे ये लोग.
How are they still able to deny so much space?
It comes back again. Acend have tightened up loads of these scenarios where in a late round, you know, they just get bombarded, overwhelmed on sites, but being proactive towards cave and towards shop, they're clearing that space. They have the information early enough.
Look at the pace change.
To send an extra.
Hold on, they're just going to be starting.
Lol.
The nails into the
Lol.
Nets did at least quell Zeke, but it was an effective trade. Bone Cold's not stopping either. He's seen everything now. He's got so much information to play with. He doesn't have to be worried about this. Redgar can't do much about it. He can maybe stay alive a second longer, but then look at Starzo. Again, propping himself up, super close contact on that A-site piece if they fancy it. But putting a lot of faith right now in Killers. Considering that Zenith hit that rotation. On the ladder, Bone Cold, that's 3. Finally handled by Redgar. But a 2v3, where'd you take this?
It will swing back up here.
Oh no!
ये गलत था, ये गलत था, ये गलत था भाई.
We saw nothing. We'll move on. Yeah, it's fine. And hello, that's another pixel out of place. So again, these fact-finding missions that Ascendant wanted to go on are interesting, but as Killers read this rotation, it's kind of ring-a-ring-rosy, right? So you're going to have a really weird position from Starzo, and it looks like they've almost flipped sides. Now the ult comes in, so at least should facilitate the point. Oh, he has no idea. Right underneath him, death from above. Gonna find Chronicle, deny the lockdown, invest the ult, and now looks towards the final player. Redgar, what do you have for us? You've been impeccable this event, but you've got to find something here. Give me a reason to believe, because at the moment I'm really not on board. Starzo the first to fall, and now the 1v1, it's Killers! He's just a backline to so many of these rounds.
वाला क्या खा के आया यार ठीक करके रखा है. अरे no.
He's now come into his own in this role, and he's bailed to send out so many times in terms of lurking, in terms of being the last.
इस वाले भाई अभी पता नहीं क्या ही कर रहे हैं. बहुत बवाल खेल रहे हैं. बहुत बवाल खेल रहे हैं. पहले टीम लिक्विड और अभी Gambit.
Again, at this point, I don't think really Ascend are feeling any pressure. We talk back again to the variation. Some of these setups is drifting one player kind of being the anomaly. Gambit right now, in terms of information gathering, the early round's just not going their way. They're not finding kind of any space to exploit, anything that will give them any opportunity to convert towards site control, like I'd already said. The Gambit playing that's, I gotta say, a little too passively in terms of the expectations of what Ascend are going to try and achieve.
कुछ बवाल ही है भाई. काला जादू किया है क्या?
Yeah, early round.
काला जादू करवाया उन लोग ने.
Now there is a bit of a response in that tube pressure that's coming in. But Cned is feeling confident. He has the line of sight. And he is just having the run of things here. Bone Cold as well gets a challenge, but gets overwhelmed. Gambit with the 2 players coming through. Zeke with the underhand flash. It's good, but it's not great. Gambit finally getting the frags they need. The pace looking much better. More deliberate in approaches now. It's just Starzo. Say just Starzo. See what he can get done. Spike's being safely carried across towards the B side. Taken away from his last known position. And he looks for a mistake. A foot out of place, an overpeak. But your first challenge if you went CT would have been Nats. Not an easy target to try and displace.
भाई ये स्टार्क सो अच्छा प्लेयर है. क्लच कर देगा.
Spike planted.
A very, very deep setup here as well. Gambit make absolutely sure they drag this one across the line.
Mid पे दो.
Stars like can find any damage here. He's considering just saving this out, but again, coming back to that, with Chronicle, again, I know talking about comfort picks and whatnot, not feeling comfortable on the sky, but right here you see, as soon as Zenith drifts into elbow there, they spot the turret, and it's almost like that rotation comes through straight away. You see Zeke and Keyless both making their way back through spawn. They read it perfectly. Gambit are almost kind of giving away exactly what they want to try and achieve in the early round, and Ascend time and time again and just sending one body. Like I said, it's so hard to deal with, especially with these players that are in rotation, are catching a member of Gambit here and there. This,
lovely.
I think it just comes down to a couple of gunfights that Gambit are granted. Almost, you don't want to say that sloppy on the side of Ascend, but if they're not given that, I feel like Ascend still have a good read on exactly where Gambit are positioned.
Again, Cena, the aggression isn't going to be just once, it's going to be followed up on. He's taking space in middle and he's not alone. He's got 2 players behind him, 3 if you want to throw in Zeke to that equation. And look at Gambit, super deep in this approach, taking space towards A, but everyone else holding that mid presence. Nat's going to invest the ult, and now Starzo knows that he's going to be really on a platter here. Tricky for him to survive. Can he do anything with it? The answer? pretty resoundingly is no. Gambit with a really nice approach. There's the adjustment from Gambit we were waiting for. It took a little time. But it ain't over yet. Cnet and Killer still here. He's just seen everything. He just sent it in. He gets red carpet.
Gambit जीते भाई जीत रहे ना entry cards बोलते.
And they get much more decisive. You can see right there, there's a plan almost from Gambit, and the first few kind of points on the checklist, it's within the first 15 to 20 seconds there. And they don't resort back to that slow default. There's no kind of progressive movement through the map here. And a much better, again, with how that played out, I think that's probably the best possible scenario in terms of the last round of that half. Let's not look at the scoreline so much. That's probably the best thing for Gambit.
It's given them a window of opportunity, maybe a little bit of rekindling of the faith that every comeback is possible for them, but 9-3 is a pretty stark contrast. Guys on the desk, what are your thoughts on the scoreline so far?
Thank you very much. Guys, imagine coming into the grand finals with this much confidence, Sean. A 9-3 start for Acend.
Yeah, and the way they did it, they're treating
किस पर लगा है? अरे Gambit पे लगा है.
rounds that shouldn't go their way are going their way.
And this is so reminiscent of the split match. You have these rounds where Ascend's winning, and then one quick
अबे ये सिर्फ मैप वन का है? लॉल मेरे को लगा पूरी टूर्नामेंट का है. लॉल आगे दिया.
Felix for me has just been such a big player from one tournament to the next. I thought he was a weak point for the team, but oh my word. And then you have guys like Cnet just tearing the rest of the map apart.
He's hit some good off shots as well. Let us not forget, he's taken some forward aggressive.
ये तो कुछ भी था भाई, ये तो कुछ भी था.
That has opened sights wide open for them, been able to crush some of the strategies of their opponents so far. So getting into half time and him being able to sort of lurk into these positions, and of course Bone Cold around the side. I mean, everyone is
मोटा मेरे जैसा. मैं भी जेट में हूँ.
Pretty, but you can't always count Gambit out.
Surely we have to talk about Zeke a little bit. After
Yeah.
that clutch,
I mean,
come on,
round
that 2-1-4 was insane. 0.22 seconds on the clock, and then the next round he breaks the Killjoy lockdown with his molly, gets that kill. Oh my gosh.
The one round they win, we're sitting there, Sean and I are sitting there, I was like, wait, they have an up, or they must save this. Zeke, boom, 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 and the round's over, and you're like, oh, maybe they don't save.
Yeah.
That's the Ascend pace right now.
I mean, similarly, a slow start for Gambit. We're used to seeing this as well, Jess. They've had a slow start a couple of maps, so not a bit too early to be worried.
Out of any team in the playoffs that could have a slow start, and I wouldn't be too worried about it, is Gambit. I don't fear too much, so I will give them an opportunity, but 9-3, that is a big round diff, so they're going to have to bring it back.
Well, they've come back from worse before. Let's go back
and
see what they can do, Pansy and Hypo.
Yeah. The challenge is certainly now with Gambit to try and reinvent a little bit of what they want to bring into this, but it's hard to imagine a world where a couple of these pop-off rounds won't fall in with Ascend, but we wait and see, right? That's the beauty of coming into these games. That scoreline does make me nervous sometimes, right? A 9-3, we've seen it before.
Ascend holding on to a lead on Breeze.
Oh, don't. Why have you done that? Why have you done that? Okay, all right. And I've got to highlight once again, man, Zeke is such a standout to me as of late. And Defo going to be dealt with. Can he be shut down in time? No, he's still going to go away, but they're going to try and springboard off the back of this. Keep that pace high. Beautiful flash through, completely blind. Still got one on the way down. Defo going to be dragging them down to the grave, and 4 standing for Gambit. This is a shutdown. Ascend came in with a bit of a game plan, but it looks like it's been
4v1.
on all fronts.
Not possible.
So good to greet this P hit. Almost mimicking Chronicle.
Stunner.
Actually, we'll find the third there. A strong start for Gambit. Again, decisive of both sides, actually. See straight away Ascend as soon as that barrier drops. Swing through. Now, let's see. The one thing I'm looking for here, is particularly in these first kind of 2 or 3 rounds from Ascend, it's just the pace, right? In terms of what Gambit showed, again, no real surprises. Lots of those rounds were slow, defaulty, working on, trying to...
मालूम है बॉडी स्विमिंग नहीं करना चाहिए पर ये मोटा बहुत लालू लगता है उनको.
Deal with Ascend on the attack.
पूरा वो भाई भारी है मोटा मेरे जैसा ही है एकदम बवाल.
Curious once again, Keeler's there to greet him. He's actually walking out here. Yeah, we'll actually find Bone Cold.
This is nice from Gambit.
सब मोटे जेट में नहीं होता है क्या? डेफो भी मोटा है देखो.
The scoreline should be, and this is
मैं भी मोटा हूँ.
the perfect way to do it. Do you think
सीनेट भी मोटा है.
Shadow's got himself tucked in the corner now. Killer
इसको देखो.
isn't considering it yet, but exactly in danger either. The Spike still just leaning around that A side of the map, looking to see if they can catch anyone over pushing, over aggressing.
Tense.
Don't see that really being a Gambit thing. Shadows always so calculating in approach.
Tense तो लग रही है भाई.
It's up to safety. We look at what remains. Acend and Zeke.
अबे उन लोग का तो पूरा रीजन ही मतलब रीजन ही ऐसा है भाई, सब पतले है.
Creeping through here.
मोस्टली सब पतले होते हैं ना
On the other side.
एशिया में. इंडिया को छोड़ के.
We'll give away the location here. Really gonna overextend a little bit. Actually, we'll find Acend. Second should be a given. Well, as I say that, Zeke sharp with that classic. Only one will fall. Rifle recovered as well.
This is a step-by-step matter for Gambit. There's a couple of key rounds that we'll highlight.
पर वो नॉर्थ अमेरिका में रहता
5
है.
rounds coming in.
अबे चुप बे.
Here and there where it can filter
उसका
through. But this is
बॉन्ड
Gambit's
देखना
bread and
कहाँ से है
butter,
भाई.
right? This is what we've now known them for. This capability to close back in.
And particularly with the 9-3, you look towards the first buy round, then that first ultimate cycle, right? Which you look towards kind of round 4, 5 potentially. If things go if everything goes Gambit's way, sorry, that's when you start.
कोरियन है मालूम है.
Those are the
वही ना.
snowballing rounds.
Oh, this is the first challenge.
अबे मैं कैमरा कहाँ पे रखूँ? मेरे को अपना कैमरा सेटअप भी समझ नहीं आ रहा कहाँ पे रखूँ करके.
Defo does at least have the rifle, but I mean Chronicle's got to go. Spectre's a weak purchase up against the Guardians, and the rifle's coming out from Acend. So let's see what the damage looks like for Gambit here. And that is a belter of a start for Defo. Takes a head off Killers, but a quick culling right back. That's the rifle now lost from Gambit. Acend still could have maintained dominance here.
Again, a good indication as well, it being Keyless. They know this is going to be the
ऊपर ही रखो क्या?
setup, but very quickly.
इससे मतलब यहाँ पे रखो या यहाँ पे रखो कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है.
Cold, can he avoid that? I don't actually think he gets spotted there.
I don't think so. Oh, you're playing dangerous games now. Shados is the one closest to the corner, but Acend's going to just check him, body check him down. Acend now striding towards the sights. That's going to be pretty much all the danger removed from the site, and not much to really come from it. Nats and Chronicle. This wasn't an invested round, though. If you look at what was coming through that defo, I mean, yes, he had the rifle. No one else had anything. Really.
No. Again, he just wants to make most of it. If anything, playing much deeper than you'd maybe expect in the bonus, but no real contingency behind that, and nobody covering the possibility that Acend had so many bodies bottom mid. Towards top mid, actually.
वो लाइनअप्स खेल रहा है.
It's one of his ultimate here, so whether or not they try and feed that kill over to Zeke. There will be actually, yeah. We'll find his third. Acend put their 10th on the board. Gambit now. Again, things almost level out in terms of the round timeline here. That's big for Acend to kind of stop this momentum. Gambit now have to make the most of this buy round.
Yeah, this is when we talk about highlight rounds, key rounds. This is one of them. And obviously Acend know that as well. They're very aware. Now Gambit didn't go all that in on that last round. I wasn't eyeing it up too much.
बड़ी मिला कि नहीं वो देखना था क्या मैं भूल गया.
That will sit in the pocket of Acend with the mere 5 of their own. But this is where it gets down to the nitty-gritty. We look at the op coming out for Defo. We look at the purchase. It's very robust. They're happy enough. Nothing special. It looks pretty much like a kind of tube and your traditional A piece, which does lean towards Defo as being the front man. He's going to find Zeke for free. Looks for a follow-up. There's no one there quite yet. You can see the vision. Just oh, that got way too close. And Defo's feeling himself here. Pretty brave to be standing like this. What? Starzo walks in, makes a side zone, and Acend just bursts through. 5 now alive. Zeke back on his feet. And it's Nats and Chronicle who don't have much territory in this at all. And already look at that push-up. Killer is taking so much room towards that deep CT side.
Again, they've got to consider holding on to this.
That's a save in my mind.
Defo loses the op. There's no Blade Storm available. The next round for Gambit looks awful. Absolutely awful. Acend going to keep 5 alive. I mean, actually, other than Zeke, there's no even shields that need repurchasing here. That is, by the book, the best possible scenario here. Keyless does give one away, but again, I think that's now giving Acend everything they need to know that they're saving, guys. Don't even risk anything, because
you're fine.
It's a bigger loss for Acend to give something away here.
Maybe try, as I said, I don't mind Keyless giving it a try, and that's it. You draw the line in the sand there for the economy going forward. I am impressed with Acend at this point. I've got to say, keep in mind, Defo had the first pick, was able to fall away, didn't have an instantaneous
11-5, bro.
But Acend, their spacing looked good, that pressure looked good. I'm seeing that semi-finals form coming right on back through here in the grand finals.
Well, actually, the other factors in here, yes, they have the lockdown, but... okay, Starzo.
Okay.
Just a pixel
Okay.
out of place. And again, the other thing is with Defo, there's no chance for him to dash away. With Zeke obviously popping that null command, there's the sort of round where the death ball around that KO wall is so devastating, especially if somebody, particularly a Jet with an operator, decides to kind of greet that. And it's almost like he's baited in by finding that first one. It's not, they actually stick the res in the open. That's crazy.
And it's forced a timeout out of Gambit here. Maybe to collect themselves, because we talked about pivotal rounds, that was one of them, and it was not a great look from Gambit. They got swept aside there. Honestly, if anything, an incredible look for Acend. They've got to be walking away, loving every moment of that, because they've been haunted on this map. They lost their last chance on this map. They got held at a strong lead and couldn't convert it. They got dragged back down, and a team like Gambit can absolutely do that to you. We aren't seeing it here. This is Acend powering forward. And look, they look like a different team. They've grown. I think that's clear.
तू वाईटी पे नहीं देख रहा है क्या? ना बे मैं ट्विच देख रहा हूँ. वाईटी पे थोड़ा लेट आता है देख दिखाता.
And again, you talk about one of the big positives for Gambit. It's the composure, right? Me and Sean had this conversation earlier. Coming away from that series yesterday is so exhausting. And again with Gambit again,
थोड़ा लेट चलता है वाईटी.
Often they start slow and kind of warm up towards the end of series or towards the end of a map. But coming out of that, it's concerning to see it like this though, because Acend, if they have the opportunity to I guess just coast through the way that it felt that they did versus Liquid and play their own.
But वाईटी कौन सा इंडी में चला रहा है भाई?
Everything is going their way right now. Every duel, every rotation pull, it's clinical. It's clinical.
वाईटी इंग्लिश ही है ब्रो. वो जो ट्विच पे जाता है वही वाईटी पे आता है.
Again, that's Acend, but they've already drawn this rotation again, like I said. Nats, they've already drawn this rotation again, like I said. Nats is going to be the only one to try and defend a site here. We'll find Keylez, but actually we'll find Zeke as well. He's going to stop this one before it gets started.
And hey, if Defo can't do it, put Nats on the site and say, all right. And hey, if Defo can't do it, put Nats on the site and say, all right, bud, we need you to lock this down, otherwise we're done for. Spike left on his side, and the bullet just gives him a haircut.
हिंदी में तो ये सब दिखा रहे हैं. ये सौरा हिंदी में दिया.
Yeah, that's the problem on YouTube. On Twitch, viewers go up by time, and on YouTube, it just decline by time.
Yeah.
Unless you're a daily streamer on YouTube. And you have that base audience that will not go anywhere. That will watch your stream, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
It's close, but yet drone say, information is completely gone. CNET has to do it all by himself.
Come on, Gambit. The ultimate comeback, please.
So they're not gonna come back, man.
But finally,
They have to. They just have to.
which is a very doable one.
Oh my god.
Okay, Chronicle denied.
ये किसके साथ स्ट्रीम कर रहा है?
तू स्ट्रीम भी कर रही है, बट
बातें कर रहे हैं, बताओ क्या कह रहे जिम ट्रेनर के साथ.
डिले हटा पे डिले नहीं है ब्रो.
एक वाइपर वॉल कमेंट करी गई है
क्योंकि टॉप रेट हटा दो क्या बाल ही. Can you try doing the cast?
वहां पे फ्लैश
तब मैं दिमाग ही नहीं काम कर रहा, तभी तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ नींद आ रही है उल्टा.
To have before.
ब्रो वही चल रही है जो चल रही है, और वो इंग्लिश में ही चल रही है.
Acend playing around just the precipice of the site. They haven't quite fully committed yet.
देखा? अरे मैं बहुत दिन से देख रहा था, नहीं चलती है हिंदी में. मेरे को लिंक दे, फिर मैं देखता हूँ. लिंक दे.
Keylez and Redguard or Defo here, and he is able to find an angle through. Nats will be detected
Time to
on
go.
site as well.
VALORANT
Yeah, they've got to hit this site right about now. Chronicle trying to spam away, try and get some chip damage, but Nats is now surrounded. He's got players right, left, center. Ult comes in, and the plant going to be going down as well. Nats actually decides to get aggressive. Oh no! Nats!
No way,
Nats is always deadly. Chronicle's got his side as well. And now we go into the last player standing, CNET. What do you got for us? Anything left in the tank? Absolutely not. It's Nats waiting. His patience pays. Gets the op and gets another round.
And that's a scary one. Again, with
He
every
pushed into that.
Yeah. At that point,
यहाँ पे तो stream ही नहीं हो रही है.
Gambit to go right. Give it up, guys. Let's play strength.
यहाँ पे भी नहीं हो रही है.
Will come through, but right there they get ahead of the curve, ahead of the spike even.
नहीं है bro.
Comfortably being planted here.
नहीं मिलेगा. हिंदी तो नहीं मिलेगा.
I mean, there's 3/4 progress there on the plant. absolutely insane stuff from Nats. Again, 2 rounds in a row now.
Get out of my way.
They've humbled the money. Acend kept on 11 for now. Gambit should be able to convert this if all goes to plan, which, hey, there's some pressure coming in through those double doors. And Nats, again, how many times will he be tested? And how many times is he going to succeed? He stands his ground and he delivers. Nats, again, is
Ouch!
He doesn't know when he's dead. And the last player alive is Bone Cold, and they just can't get rid of it.
Holy Nats!
4 stand, and the gap gets smaller.
And we talk about it, this is when you start getting concerned for Acend. When Gambit can build a little momentum, and that's it. They pump the brakes.
Yep, they have to, because if I'm a coach and I'm watching my team get held on 11, I'm getting nervous, because I know what happened last time. I've sat here and I've had to watch my team get stuck at this point. You have to address it now, because these site hits are finding nothing. Nats is just running you around, he's making you look silly. They have to find the answer.
I'm not sure what it is again with Gambit almost being there to read both of these. Again, that Viper's Pit kind of being invested now in plays. Maybe there's going to be a little variation to set up in potentially Chronicle going to have a different setup for the defense, but again, do Acend come back to B now? Do they see a little bit window of opportunity almost with mid, because they came through double doors there, but again, the one play you don't want on the other side of a Cypher cage and you're flashing out of it is Nats, right?
Yeah, it's just stuff of nightmares.
No
when
access to sight, right?
None. There's only one site on this map, and it's not where he is. So maybe find another way around. For now, though, this is when all that work and hopefully all that adjustment kicks in.
Well, this is, and again, you look back at the rounds that Acend have won. Have they learned enough about the setup? And actually, just come back to it here, we see exactly that. Nats and Chronicle now invested towards B site. Now, whether or not Acend are going to poke a little bit on A, maybe not see Nats on the other side of it, and then think that there is an opportunity.
Yeah, but Defo can then overextend a little if he wants to, see if he wants to get a little aggy on that peak.
Operator Blade Storm is a big swing factor in this round.
And he's got Sky with him, right?
They might even try and flash into shot pillar.
I think that's exactly what we're seeing, which again removes a couple of options. Angles his. The shot was so close, but he's going to fall away. Defo going to just fall back a little.
But straight away, look.
And this now just falls onto Nats's lap. He sat there, and this was the whole intention. They are running, they are forcing and herding Acend this way. Now he's not alone here though. He does have a teammate with him as well. Support on this. It will be Chronicle, the dastardly duo.
This is crazy again, just that little bit of aggression forces Acend to consider going elsewhere. They've noted the operator. Redguard's already looking to preempt this rotation. And they're walking into a really awkward setup here on the defense from Gambit.
And now they're like, oh no. Surely not again. Surely this isn't what's happening. Look at the utility smothering them down. Nats is buying time after time. Can they finally take him down? No, they can't. Nats the immovable object. No way. Unbelievable work from Nats. And Acend can't escape him. He's the final boss that they
cannot Shot! Bro, Nats is Natsy, bro. Kya mara.
That setup is beautiful. The snake bites, the nano swarm. There's nowhere for Cena to dash onto site. There's nothing for him to do. They stall for 3 seconds or so, and at that point, then Gambit like we have the wall.
Something went wrong, Dikara, bro.
There's nowhere for Acend to push into, Lauren.
And this was all tailor-made for him to be there.
It was bespoke for this.
I love this. This is good Valorant, man. This is what it's about. These mind games between the two. It's about these mind games. The Prime came in really just to signify the scenario that
and this is Prime Gaming
Sheriff's Frenzies, light armor. Can they get anything? Can they find that weakness, that avenue back, that way to remove a...
अरे वो लोग commentary कर रहे हैं खुद. Nordwin वाले.
Gambit.
इंडियन esports है वो ऐसे ही टूर्नामेंट करते होंगे. हाँ वो खुद कर रहे हैं ब्रो, इसलिए जो रियल है वो रियल है. अपन अभी उसमें क्या ही करेंगे, वो खुद कर रहे हैं. वो नॉर्डविन वाले खुद कर रहे हैं.
Find success. Bone Cold and Starzo still staring down the barrel of Defo. Nats does actually deal with that lurk, so again, good indication here. Straight away hits this rotation. They're almost committed here, trying to find something.
I really like this.
Flawless, bro.
It's flawless again from Gambit, who are just striding through. And this is when we talk about their resilience, their capability.
Bro, Nats 24-9-3.
So often to bring these
कुछ अलग ही खेल लिया.
I'm pretty sure Nats was 12-9. He's now 24-9.
हाँ वही 12 किल सीधे लिए वो भी without any
And
that.
again, like you said, this is literally Gambit setting up Acend. They're baiting them into some of these rounds, and they keep biting. They keep biting.
They don't know what to do to get around it. Timeout comes.
Sexy खेल है बे, sexy खेल है.
This
Gambit वाला Nets भाई क्या 12 किल no that.
just it being a best of
मतलब 12-9-3 से सीधा 24-9-3.
Map 1 is so huge in the best of 5. It absolutely
100%.
is.
And we already know this about Gambit, and I do want this to be taken really on board, that they are so capable of these comebacks time and time again. Their unwavering faith in the in-game leadership, the coaching, the plan, whatever it is, it's just, the result is flawless. And Acend have sat there on 11. And they have not gotten...
For a while.
Yes, they have not gotten close. And if there was just any other map as well, any other scenario, I wouldn't be as worried because it's a best of 5. But my mind does go back to that 100 Thieves game that we were mentioning earlier, where they got...
अभी ये लोग पूरा साइड एक साथ वो करेंगे शायद, मेरे को लग रहा है.
They really could. In terms of
एक साथ रश करेंगे.
ऐसे because, like I said, if they find...
देख.
It's so difficult to overcome because
ये 100 मिड से यहाँ पे जाएगा और ये सब यहाँ से यहाँ जाएंगे.
The defense, the variation, everything that Gambit are able to do on the defense, it's almost like you get to round 6 or 7 and you're back on your second or third buy round and you think, okay, well, do we naturally know what the setups are? What are the indicators that we can kind of adapt to?
11-10 अभी जीत जाएंगे देख. अभी 13-11 से जीतेंगे Gambit वाले.
Enough once again to basically negate Zeke's early round utility, and they'll lean back towards what feels like looking for a pick, but set up here from Gambit, they're not going to give one away.
Yeah, gas move. Flash.
Let's say they continue to explore through elbow, up middle. It's going to be Nats again, isn't it? Maybe a quick lean comes in from someone like Defo, or I don't know, Redgar comes across, who knows? But at this point, once again, they look towards B.
Interesting thing here will be if they can make use of this utility ahead of null command. There you go, actually it's popped straight away. And immediately see the nano swarm to try and buy a little bit of time.
Shot.
And Chronicle will find it.
But he pushes into this. The
Shot.
It's just uncontestable. And Nats is the back line and he is not going to fall away.
What?
Just destroyed them. You can't run and you can't hide. Nats is right there every
Bro.
single time.
I can't
Nats another 3 kill.
5-man hit.
Why?
Nats able to completely shut down with the null command. And like I said, there's a window of opportunity where you have to make use of this utility ahead of the exit, right? Particularly we talk about this just comes down to right?
And look at the synergy between these two players.
Chronicle bails out and Nats is like, cool, I'll pick up the slack.
Buddy. Yep. I'm right there. And you can see it between them. In perfect synergy in the switch up. And again, Nats is on the A side. He's everywhere they want to be. This is literally like a nightmare. They don't know how to get away from him. A quick underhand flash, but look at this Bulldogs. Light armor. They don't even have the full kit and caboodle. They're working with less. An aggressive posture as well from Defo. He's taking space elsewhere.
B-rotate maar raha hai.
If they note this, if Defo finds a kill, it's going to force them back towards the side they don't want to hit.
And I love how they're using this though. Defo on one side taking a bit of space. We saw it with the flashes
so
before.
much map control here.
And now let's see if he can keep this sort of presence though, because it's tricky. He could get punished. And actually gets away with his life, luckily and surprisingly. 35 HP, can filter away, doesn't get punished for it. Shados there just to try and facilitate that escape plan if he needs it. And well, they've decided maybe B's the site to go to, as that's where the op is, I guess.
Again, Wall not invested yet from Starzo. He's got his Viper's Pit, so it looks like they are leaning towards a B hit once again. Again, they're very cautious. They're trying to figure out where Defo's repositioned to. Kilos might even try and bait a little contact here at double doors.
Yeah, but they've got an early rotation as well. Chronicle's coming over, and I quite like that. Defo's got himself hopping out the ult. Nat still fights one, no matter
Bro!
what. Acend can't do anything.
What the heck?
They are left without an answer.
Flawless or what?
Just a clean sweep from Gambit, 5 alive. Cold presented the impossible.
Flawless.
Make it happen. And Gambit take the lead from Acend.
Bro.
Without breaking a sweat. Honestly, some of these rounds are just
Sexy,
they're played
baby.
so well. And like you said, the synergy in the buddy system that Gambit's able to invest around Chronicle and Nats so often. Again, Chronicle, he's so sharp, and he has been the last few days. Again, you think back to that ace on bind, and wow, I'm speechless. Acend once again now staring down the barrel. Have I got to say it, fumbling a big lead on Breeze.
Yes, absolutely. And half of me, you know, you do have to look a little bit towards what Acend are doing wrong, but it's so hard to take it away from what Gambit are doing so right. Nats and Chronicle, to me, this duo is just undeniable brilliance in every aspect of it. Defo, again, has the Seekers to set him up. You could have the ult coming in. Nothing seems possible for Acend.
Gaya wo Cypher.
Well, Viper's Pit, A site. Nats is going to hold on to that here, whether or not see Gambit readjust. Look how deep Defo is once again.
Now that's a good pick though. Zeke finding Chronicle's actually pretty important. Maybe this
Chronicle,
is a chance.
yeah.
I say that with this man still lingering around. And Defo's still exploring deeper and deeper, finding new ways, and if they keep leaning back this way, it's a very real possibility he catches one of these players. It looks like he's going to spot Killers pretty soon, and he does. He finds Killers, and oh, he just got a glimpse of a second. 100% confirmation that they were eyeing.
अबे उन लोग का half buy है ये round. GG बे.
They don't have to over-rotate.
लल्लू लाल हार रहा है. अबे इन लोग का half buy है. Already half buy.
It looks like Acend still want to try and navigate their way past this Viper's Pit onto A.
Good luck. Because we know who's there. Redgar this time holds across. Zenith finds one. Redgar sprays in. He gets one connection, but it's still going to be
Ooh.
Finally gets to
Shotgun padi bhai.
And he gets Redgar. It's 10 seconds. It's over.
Shot.
13 to 11. The
Gambit
nightmare
both
resurfaces for Acend and Gambit. What a turn.
अपन जीत गए ले रे. Predictions Gambit. 925.
And then, once again, the Iron Giants made their appearance.
I gotta say it again.
मालूम है ना कौन है लल्लू लाल? नहीं पता है कौन है लल्लू लाल?
I've seen the Nats from earlier on in the year.
Sure.
Starting off the grand
Jord prediction.
Nats and Chronicle again. This guy's been putting up MVP worthy.
हाँ सर मैं इतना बोलते.
The duo for Gambit. Single-handedly, some of the rounds, it was
लल्लू लाल.
two players though.
Look, I love seeing that Chronicle and Nats combo. Between the two of them was beautiful. Zeke had a great performance. Zenith was not quiet either. This was a good-looking Acend on the first half.
It really was, and again, you think back.
अच्छा हाँ वो तो मालूम है मेरे को लगा कोई रियल लाइफ कैरेक्टर होगा.
If they'd adapted perfectly to Gambit, right?
वो तो पता है एसेंट वाला जेट अपना लल्लू लाल.
Scenario we're talking about Gambit looking 10 times better on defense than they do on the attack, which again.
भाई ये क्या मतलब क्या ही खेल गए भाई. Gambit वाले comeback, full comeback.
So difficult for Acend because the early rounds are so one-sided. They learn nothing from some of these losses.
ऐसा बैकअप चाहिए थे. केजे इधर आया तो वो वाइपर मारने लगा. अपने तो वो देखता रहेगा क्या हो रहा है भाई. केजे वापस क्या आया भाई.
It's going to be one of the best we've ever seen between these two. Gambit bringing out all the stops, nothing left to hide, nothing left to, you know, shy away from. And as you said, Chronicle, Nats, headliners in this. Let's head to a break so the devs can jump in and talk you through everything we just saw.
इंडियन वाला वाइपर भाई हाथ में ऐसे करके रखेगा. वो केजे वापिस आ रहा है हाथ में ऐसे करके रखेगा. वो डालेगा नहीं, वो ऐसे करके सिर्फ रखेगा वहां पे. भाई आज खेला मैं एक गेम तो भाई फ्रैक्चर मैप में एक टीम हमारे ओपोनेंट भाई पूरा वीसीटी जैसे खेल रहे, पूरा वीसीटी जैसे. इतना ट्रायहार्ड भाई. पूरा VCT जैसा खेल ले भाई, इतना ट्राई हार्ड खेल रहे भाई। मिल गया, चलो मैं लगा रहा हूँ। बड़ी मिल गया, बड़ी मिल गया। अरे पूरा मतलब VCT। अबे वेलोसिटी गेमिंग की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं, मतलब ये चैंपियनशिप जैसा खेल रहे पूरा। जो मैं बोला ठीक है भाई। हाँ एक साथ लॉग इन कर लो सब, आज तो यही होना है। जीजी इजी। जो भी जीजी इजी लिख रहे हैं ना, वो लोग हैं जो इन गेम बॉटम फ्रैग करते हैं लेकिन उड़ना बहुत है उनको, तो जीतने के बाद लिखता है जीजी इजी। कैरी होंगे लेकिन लिखेंगे जीजी इजी। ठीक है भाई। हाँ और दो मैच जीतना पड़ेगा ना उनको। मैं लगाऊंगा यहाँ पे तो पहले चैंपियंस। किधर गई ये रही। आप बड़ी लगाएंगे चैंपियन बेली। किधर है बे, दिख ही नहीं रहा है यहाँ पे, तो नहीं आया अभी तक। क्लेम तो कर लिया मैं, अभी लगाया नहीं ना, अभी तो लगेगा चालू होने पे। सी डिटेल। अभी सेकंड मैच चालू होगा तब लगाऊंगा मैं। 1000 लगाऊंगा, 1000 गैम्बिट पे वापस फुल फॉर्म में भी। यहाँ पे चैंपियन का बड़ी आया नहीं है।
Yeah, and this is where the mental strength of Acend is truly tested. I mentioned they were really tested in that liquid game. They were
यहाँ पे चैंपियन का बड़ी नहीं आया है अभी तक, और वहाँ पे क्लेम हो गया, मैंने क्लेम किया अभी।
This is Gambit in the driver's seat all the way in my.
What blows my mind is Gambit is literally probably still reeling from the night before. Acend had some time to regroup, find themselves. Gambit's like coming back, going down off the adrenaline just to pick it back up, and it did not seem to phase them. And Nats back on that scoreboard. All we could talk about at Masters 3, and he wants that again.
Yeah, he was very.
नहीं है वे, नहीं मिला अब तक। कल सुबह तक का वेट कर ले। कल पूरा दिन बिजी होने वाला है भाई, कल पूरा दिन बिजी होने वाला है। ये ईयरफोन लिया है मैंने। अबे हाँ लेजेंड, मेरे को एडीजेक मेरे को एक हेल्प करना। डिस्कॉर्ड मेरे को एक हेल्प चाहिए। मेरे को है ना ये ईयरफोन को ट्यून करना है, मतलब कि जो अपन ऑन चालू में कैसे करता है ये वाला, देख ये वाला जो ट्यूनर है ना, ये वाला ट्यून करना है मेरे को ईयरफोन को, क्योंकि उसका कोई एप्लीकेशन नहीं है।
Nats' positioned so deep right now in defender spawn as a counter to the null command. He's way past the distance of this ability, and he dropped the molly to support Chronicle, and the hold on B was flawless. This game is over. Gambit has everything ready.
I mean, they just killed them all. It was like almost crew-esque, right? Yeah. Where everybody didn't even have time to plant, because by the time they got onto the site, they were already dead. But that's going to be very, very scary for Acend. I feel like the saving grace of that Riv is the fact that is Gambit's map pick. So, you know, it's not the end of the world for Acend.
Yeah, that would have been the leg up for Acend if Gambit didn't come back on that. Acend really being able to carry themselves great on their attack halves, it seems, but losing their footing when it's...
मेरे को भी इतना अच्छे से नहीं पता, शाम को मालूम होगा। शर्मा को मालूम होगा। अच्छा, शर्मा को बुलाते हैं ना, फिर किधर गया?
please let us not forget that Chronicle went on to a bit more of a
ये लोग भी मैच ही देख रहे हैं.
as well, and of course Nats, he was where we expected him to be, and I just think that comparing them on the screen, don't do that. Just know that this duo was what pushed Gambit over the line.
Mutswas.
That was silly looking at the stats. But we also saw some silly stuff on the side of Acend as well.
Street game. शर्मा का सर्वर कौन सा है?
In round 4, we're going to have to cast a Mind Strawn all the way back to the first half of the game.
Yeah, and this was such a pivotal moment for Acend early in this game. This is what gave them the massive advantage in the first half. Riv said, you know, you get that one round, and Acend just immediately wins the next one to reset your economy. Gives them all their ult set up, and you know, it's what started the 9-3 half.
शर्मा नहीं है बे.
How do you fall so far from that, though? It's so interesting to see Gambit can still find those powerhouse shooters as well as play the map to always be in the face of Acend. We heard it multiple times from Pansy and Hypoc that Nats was always there, whether he was at B, whether he was at A, he was always following.
अरे राजा नहीं है.
Oh, we just don't go to their site, but he's everywhere. Like, at what point do you just
बिल्लू.
game plan as well? But speaking of,
बिल्लू.
let's take a look at the one of the most
हेलो. बिल्लू. ओ विनाइट. हेलो, तेरा आवाज नहीं आ रहा मेरे को. जोर से बोल. हाँ अब बोल. बिल्लू बोल. अरे हाँ तेरा आवाज उसमें जा रहा है. वेट कर. वेट. एक मिनट. इनपुट. हाँ बोल. स्पीकर रियल. हाँ बोल. हेलो. हाँ अभी आ रहा है. ये बोल रहा था कि मेरे को मेरे
कह रहा था मैं देखे तुम वॉच पार्टी कर रहा था.
वो सब छोड़, तू मेरे को ये करना है.
क्या?
अपना ईयरफोन को वो कैसे करते हैं ट्यून. ईयरफोन को अपन ट्यून करते ना, जैसे हेडफोन के लिए पूरा एक एप्लीकेशन आता है पता है ट्यूनर का, जो भी कंपनी का होता है वो.
नहीं पता.
हाँ
नहीं पता.
और मेरे को ईयरफोन के लिए करना है क्योंकि मैंने लिया तो है लेकिन उसमें बास बहुत ज्यादा है. तो अगर ऐसा कोई एक्सटर्नल ट्यूनर आता है तो तुझे कुछ पता हो तो.
नहीं मुझे नहीं पता. मैं तो नॉर्मल भी उसमें भी ट्यूनर यूज नहीं करता.
ओके. देखना पड़ेगा फिर तो कैसे का. कुछ नहीं भाई, स्ट्रीम कर रहा हूँ मैं. रूटर पे अभी स्ट्रीम करना चालू कर रहा हूँ मैं. मतलब करूँगा. तुझे जानता है क्या कोई रूटर पे?
मुझे कौन नहीं.
ठीक है चालू करेंगे. रूटर पे चालू करने वाला हूँ. मतलब अभी एक बार कांटेक्ट हो जाए उनके साथ, उसके बाद तो बातें चल रही है अभी तो.
हो रहा है
क्या?
कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो रहा है उनके साथ.
हाँ करूँगा ना कॉन्ट्रैक्ट.
फिर तो सही चीज है.
चुम्मा. ठीक है चल, मैं तो टूर्नामेंट देख रहा हूँ.
चल सही. वैसे कमबैक जा रहा हमारा.
हैं?
कमबैक देखे?
हाँ गैम्बिट पे मैंने लगाया था ना सट्टा. गैम्बिट पे लगाया था मैंने.
जीते कितना?
925.
925 जीत गए.
हाँ अभी एक और 1000 डाल दिया गैम्बिट पे. कौन सा मैप है अभी?
पता नहीं.
आ जा मेरे वीसी, अपने वीसी आ जाना, वहां पे बैठ के देखते हैं. और क्या.
तू जब मैं तो सोने जा रहा हूँ.
हाँ ठीक है चल.
सुबह स्कूल लगा लीजिए.
ओके चल.
Here, if they want to pull the series a little bit closer in their favor, let's jump into Acend here with Pansy and Hypoc.
Acend map, baby.
Yeah, let's jump into it indeed. We do have something that I really want to initially talk about here as well, is seeing that KO and now seeing Nats from map 1 looking fantastic. but we also saw what happened against X10 when he got targeted so directly.
Yeah, literally. In so many rounds, and actually testament to how Cruz actually played that. I said it was one of the best performances from one map alone that we've seen from KO. So a lot of this rides on, again, potentially countering Nats, right? We've seen, obviously, slight adjustment on the composition, so maybe that leans towards a little bit more of comfort on the side of Gambit, but I think it's as well with Acend. They're probably going to have watched that and just thought, hey, actually,
this works.
Why don't we just try pushing Nats?
That's crazy.
You think map 1, did that work? Not so well.
Well,
Not
now,
so
you
well.
know, you got to rekindle that faith, right? You got to kind of bring yourself back together. And it is map 2 time. If you're just tuning into the grand finals, Gambit picked up map 1, and could you believe it, in a comeback fashion as well. And Acend, hey, they had the lead and they dropped it. And you're right. What is going on between these two? It's so quick in towards that A site. And already we're going to see that pressure towards Nats. He's going to be kind of dealt with towards Tree for now, but he's still got a gun in his hand. And that might be just enough for him. Yeah, good luck targeting this man. He'll do it all with that target on his back. As Starzo now left in the 1v4.
That's a Redgar set up green. We'll find the first, actually the second as well from Starzo. That's fantastic work. Defo
GG.
through Risados, they find it. And again, Acend, try and pump a little bit, try and bait a little presence, but Gambit proactive on the defense. We don't see this very often from them. It's not often they go looking, they go hunting for a fight here, particularly in the pistol round, but again, diligence-wise, nobody considering the possibility. I think actually Zeke finds Nats in tree, and nobody considers the possibility he's going to swing out of the smoke. It's almost, you want them to follow up on that utility. They're relying on a little bit of a, I guess, a complacent hold on the side of Gambit.
And I don't think we've ever put the words complacent next to the name Gambit, have we?
No.
A little bit of a switch up in positioning as well, I'd say, that Astra playing towards the A site, even on tree, though. We still saw how well prepared Nats was. But now a bit of a trade out. And hello, Bone Cold, finding Defo, and now we've got a player advantage towards Acend. How do they work from this point onwards, though? Can they draw these rotations? Can they find the right place to be? It looks like B might be what they desire, but on the other side, we know who's there. Chronicle waiting. Spectre locked and loaded. Has a quick glance. Sees nothing for now. Does he get any information off this?
Yeah, good timing on that, though, to use the Aldrone. He's now got his recon bolt again, so potential here if he's given an audio
He's so alone,
cue.
though. Shados is all the way in spawn. Now the contact's made. He has to buy a little bit of time. Just the last piece of utility put to work just before he backed away. Confirmation of 2. And there's that lean through from CT. That's some route as well. Chronicle, going for the double. The triple not quite as Bone Cold carries on forward. That's the Bone Cold that we know with the Sheriff. And is there any more? Shados, the 1v2, Spike hold down, 20 seconds to play with.
Upto बस vibe है हर पास से hype है man don't wait for none फर्क नहीं पड़ता तू आए या आए नहीं दिल मेरा खोल है ज़ाहिर से put it in my cup नशा या ख्वाहिश है loyalty and blood मिलते नहीं साइड से मुझसे
on the omen, but he's still damn good.
I said this earlier, you give him
फॉर्म में रहे गैम्बिट वाले क्या हुआ कुछ नहीं गलती से दब गया था वो सॉरी लूल
and an opening as well. You see straight away they drift back towards B, and at that point you think Chronicle, yeah, the recon bolt, the Aldrone uses, the timing's perfect for it. He actually still had 2 shock darts, I'm pretty sure. It goes for the gunfight instead, not able to buy enough time, and unfortunately in terms of rotations they get picked apart.
This is a huge turn of events, though, just from momentum alone. Acend desperately needed that. What is that? Look at the info. They just scurry and get out of there like little rats escaping the ship.
Oh hi, सारे एक साथ.
All seen. And I like a stack. Look, I'll absolutely back that every day of the week. If you're on Sheriff's Classics, you're trying to make something happen out of nothing, why not give it a go? But for now, this will be hopefully clean enough for Acend, and there's the dash, and actually Killer's fully blind. Bone Cold needs to be careful here. They can cross this corner if they're feeling themselves. The rifle is in, but they just play as numbers, play as the pack. At 3v3, there's no way this gets more dangerous.
Bro, baiting OP.
Somehow it's okay. A 2v2 though.
It's okay.
2v2 दोनों के पास गन है. GG bait.
Oh, he's got his own. Okay.
Confirming what they already know. 2 rifles retrieved for Nats and Redgar. Actually, Zeke looking to get a little bit aggressive at the time, and the flash is going to be good for Redgar at least, but can't close it out.
It's whiffy. It's really not that good. Zeke needs to fall away. He's bought a little bit of time, but it ain't much. So with another flash, though, he should be able to do some work and play CNED in potentially. But they do have rifles. Here's that flash underhand, sends it in. Timing is everything. CNED set for success, gets one on the cross, and now down to Redgar, and it's CNED to keep things just about in check.
Nice Ikodo.
Thank God for that.
I mean, they found 3
That was
players
good.
there, took away
Eco.
those rifles, gonna force out the reinvestment. This is a damn
Bro, मैं तो भाई हर बार बोलता हूँ जब भी इको या हाफ बाय वो ऐसे ही रश करना होता है ये अपने इंडिया वाले मानते नहीं है ब्रो ये इको देखा क्या तुम लोग ने वो एक बंदा बेट होता है तो दूसरा मारता है उसको पीछे जाके सेक्सी रे सारे क्लासिक और एक के पास सिर्फ शरीफ था सिर्फ दो उसके पास
weapon there, but they come in at the last second. Acend showing presence towards A. Defo just brazen in the swing there, and CNED will punish it.
That's a big amount of information coming through. Shados gets a freebie and a nasty one. Shados hasn't seen anything, and he's still finding them. 2 huge kills, and it's just CNED keeping this one looking potentially likely. The 3v3 presented, and they've got no ground. They have to peel away with the spike for now.
So again, Bone Cold invest the Hunter's Fury there, but no information gathered on the back of it. Chronicle will be spotted there. Look for Bone Cold now to potentially re-aggress towards shore, but the Cosmic Divide will go up just to lock them out of A site for the time being. Acend will wait this out.
You don't walk this, do you, Bone Cold?
Surely not.
You wouldn't do that. Maybe in timing with this, though. Yes, you
does.
do. When CNED plays in, he moves through the divide. Great timing, the push and the pull, taking the eyes away from the prize. But the spike now has to get towards the site. Spike going down. I don't think anything's going to stop.
Oh, bhai, ye shock dart seekhna hai mere ko.
To a new post-plant position eventually.
Spike planted.
They're pretty early
Holy
on.
shit.
Wise to it. Nat's now the last man standing, 1v2.
There's the contact made. They now know the position he's working from. They try and stay as a pack, but it's still Nats. One side, gonna be one, the other on the other. This is just lovely work. And you see Acend had to really keep check on that. You drop that ball for a second, you allow him that 1v1. He might have exploited it. But Acend, a lot of things presented there, and they actually succeeded against it.
Absolutely. The awkward thing becomes if Acend now try and revert back to a slower default and try and poke, because Gambit are showing willingness to greet Acend, whichever side they... this is, I think, the 3rd time they've shown a little bit of presence early round on A, and this time around they do follow up. It's looking like another stack towards A here. Again, a Spectre, 2 Spectres, sorry, invested here for Gambit.
पूरा भी छोड़ दिया हम लोग ने.
Just going to try and roll on through.
Yeah, investing in the other divide as well. Going to allow them safe passage. Yes, they'll be noticed already on the camera, but that'll be just fine. That's not really the biggest bother. I think they've seen a fair amount.
Yes. Taking that back. Figured out exactly where half of Acend are here, and the reaggressors 4 comes through B main.
Let's see if you can keep it looking lush as ever. Starzo and CNED in perfect unison, leaving just Redgar, and I think he's already been well and truly discovered. They're lining him up, and they're knocking him down. Acend gonna keep things chugging forward. I can't think it's ever over.
How much do you read into this now? Looking at the start of Breeze and how comfortable Acend looked, how much do you take away from these first 5 rounds?
Yeah, I've never watched a team where it's always felt so possible for a turnaround to happen. Now, the economy kind of got shaken up a little bit by the conversion of the second by Acend, and we saw that kind of stack almost work out. The money's been actually kept relatively humble. Obviously, a little bit now building in the bank for Acend. But I want to see what Gambit do now with a decent purchase. Big information off the back of the flash, and Zeke gonna now try and power on forward. Takes everything he can with him, but now on the other side, Defo. There it is, good shot from Defo. Comfortable enough, but it's not the only one here. And actually, what? He unleashes himself. 2 huge frags, keeping Gambit at bay. And is now down to Chronicle. Locked out, blinded, has no chance for now. Has to rescind for a second.
1v2.
Get tagged out as well. Zeke gonna look to follow up on that information. just to slow him down a little bit as well. Chronicle not an awful lot he can do in this scenario.
अरे ऑफ सेव करना गांडू.
To this rifle. Again, it's so difficult for Acend to maintain this pace, this level of aggression, right?
यार मेरे को ये नहीं समझ आता कि एक पीछे एक क्यों रहते हैं. Bro, एक पीछे एक ऐसे भी गलत भी है और सही भी है एक तरीके से, क्योंकि जैसे ही वो एक इस तरफ जाएगा ना तो दूसरा भी उसके पीछे आएगा. देखना ये लोग में देखना, एक मरेगा ना तो दूसरा पीक देगा उसको सेम पोजीशन से.
They're looking for a big adjustment on the side of Gambit here. Not necessarily in this next round, we'll have to look at the economy, but they need to stop some of this.
तो चिल्ला रहा है, come on, let's go.
They start exploring mid, maybe greet some of this presence towards Catwalk if send Opto go this way against Keyless, man. Just I love this though. They're moving with intent. You can see how eager they are to try and close out that tag with the Owl drone. Gambit actually going to call a timeout here to potentially consider some of the things we've been discussing.
And there's options aplenty. I don't think this is worrying times yet for Gambit. We've already seen that in the first map anyway, but even just at this scoreline, I don't think there's any problems. They have a deep enough strat book, even just at face value, that we know that they have options in this. I think something that's a little different to my eye, at least, is that it's actually Bone Cold who's having a bit of a moment here. We've seen pretty much everyone else from that side have some really big impactful rounds, you know, some influential games, but Bone Cold's been kind of the quiet leader. And now he's kind of leading from the front a little.
And that's a big positive. You talk about maintaining pace and keeping up the pressure. When you have a player that's not always reflective numerically, when you look back at some games,
इससे तो एक बंदा 3 या 4 लोग मार लेता है जो एक के पीछे.
I don't want to say he had a quiet map 1, but
हाँ वो भी तो है ना bro, वही तो है.
On the attack again, Defo shutting down a lot of those with just simply rotating.
ये लोग एक साथ इतने सारे किल लेने का रीजन भी वही है कि वो लोग एक के पीछे खेलते हैं ना. तो वो बंदा मार ही लेता है भाई. मतलब अपने वहाँ पे तो वीक हो जाता है. वो लोग तो भाई एम ही सेक्सी होता है.
Now it's starting to really get robust. 5.3, 6.3, plenty of credits now sitting behind this buy for for Gambit.
Mid to A.
And actually, this is key here in the anti-eco.
You should run.
Acend will show a little presence towards mid. This Fury will actually deal with the lockdown here.
Nice.
Will find one with the shorty. Quickly traded out though.
Fuck moment with shorty.
Find an opening towards A. Actually, Starzo close enough to hear the sound cue. We'll find the first. We'll find the second as well. That's the last man standing.
Okay, not much damage done. We talk about maybe chipping away at it, forcing them some repurchases. Nothing.
ये लोग का आवाज बाद में आ रहा है. पीछे से उन लोग का चिल्लाने का आवाज पहले आ रहा है.
And Defo's been quiet. So actually most of Gambit have been. Nat's unable to find much impact just yet, and it's night and day. But again, 3 rounds is all they needed on the first. This though looks a little bit more commanding, and again, when we look at the map choice, this does sit like you'd imagine Acend should be able to get across the finish line on this. Hopefully that then opens up the entirety of the map.
Take left, take right.
Hopefully.
Would be nice.
Because the next one's a bit of a curveball as well.
It's a bit weird. We'll talk about that when it gets to it as well. But into this one, Seekers do come through.
अभी Gambit comeback करेगा देखो.
Most of the players eyeing up that B site. So the duo who surprised us, Chronicle and Nats, hitting such high notes on map 1, could do with a bit of that now. They actually peel away.
So on the back of the Aldrin and the Seekers here, you can see.
Shot. देखा सोआ को बेट किया जाए इतना. देखा ऐसे बेट करते हैं बेट. मतलब सेक्सी वाला बेट. Picker beat.
Starzo knows exactly where they are. He's pinged them on the minimap.
But I still want Bone Cold Zeke. If they even start trying to play towards middle, really trying to address this, even with just a swing, this is not what I wanted. That's a disaster in the making. And now he even predicts the push-up as well, finding Starzo. Shados has just dismembered this hit as well. That's the Gambit you need to fight for.
And again, if they can pull this off in a couple of these rounds, these flanks coming through will create so much paranoia for Acend, especially on some of these fast hits. They can't continue leaving these huge gaps on the map.
But you were right though, it was pinged out, right? Like that was
straight away. And you talk about contingencies, especially when you're playing this quickly. Star's obviously playing a huge role in terms of being on the Astra. He can.
ये लोग कितना टाइम आउट लेंगे बे? खेलो ना.
But again, the way they come out of tiles there, you think has you only heard one potentially?
Is it just just be careful? I don't know what the call is there because I said when I see that ping, I think, okay, they're going to at least do something. Because like another utility was put towards it. And I was like, okay, to show that they'll then maybe double swing it, do something to address it. Nothing really came out. So time for maybe a little bit of a get your heads back into the right space, keep focused. Now they need to keep this moving for Acend. If they let off the gas for a second, you know that gap gets closed.
Again, Gambit showing hints of being versatile as well. We don't often see them overstep on defense. They don't like to get too aggressive in terms of pushing out all the way. I mean, that's invested. There's two of them. There's two members that they're looking to flash through mid. They're looking to catch this kind of pivot away from B main.
Round तो उनको लेना पड़ेगा bro.
What a great read on that. What a timing to put it.
टाइम आउट लेके कितना करेंगे? तो फिर चालू गेम में भी दो ना टाइम आउट. चालू गेम में क्यों नहीं देते ये लोग?
Does get a little unnerving. However, it's only 2 right now, so they could be.
चालू कॉम्पी में भी दो टाइम आउट.
Surely.
नॉर्मल कॉम्पी में.
Defo and Shade also towards that B site. I wonder if they get a little proactive on it, but it is at least an eye test looking like an A piece for now.
Again, Nat's key in this scenario. He's not looking to get suppressed on site. He's playing deep towards tree for him to swing back into bail Redgar out if this hit comes through. Acend creeping closer and closer, and it's looking pretty committed.
Yeah, the rotations are kind of in though. 2 players already swinging past CT with that deep play coming out from Defo. They feel pretty solid about this, and Nats wants to get in towards it. Redgar already going to spray through. Good for 1, finds killers. Nats tries to thread the needle. Zeke all too aware this time. Fell for it before, not twice. Shados and Redgar might have to respect this now, full away from Tree, because you can already see the counterplay coming out from Acend. They want to get aggressive right back at him, and Zeke and Starzo find 2 kills in quick succession, putting such favor by their side if they can get this spike down. Defo.
He's thinking about it.
He's really considering this. It's time to go. Gave it a damn good attempt, but careful now. Acend was ready to get involved as well. Not to be. They back away and look for the next option, which actually isn't a bad shout, but the door gets shut in their face.
Defo had to swap off that operator to make it a little bit easier on the way back in. And nothing to work off though. 2 smokes for Defo, but you see Acend set up to greet them here.
Clears the right corner with the spray through the smoke, but it's 2 sitting at very favorable angles on the left side. That's going to make it very tricky. Can't get it done, and now Chronicle caught by Zeke, and another big impact round from the man himself. 3 still stand, and Acend.
एक बार वापस करो 93 कार्स.
7-2 now.
उसके बाद आएगा Gambit ऊपर.
Gambit read that perfectly after not feeling any pressure on the side of B-main. I'm not sure if actually any of Keylez's utility is noted. Actually, did actually eat that flash on the way out. You can see Gambit tried to swing out of the cage. Try and reduce the numbers on the side of Acend. But like I said, Gambit read this perfectly. They're set up in the right place, but unfortunately just a couple of engagements not going their way, and we're back in a scenario now after that 1 round win. It's almost torn apart. There's 1,800 credits behind this purchase for Gambit. Redgar's on a stinger.
Yes, doesn't sit well, does it?
No, it doesn't.
No, and now Zeke's got ult as well. Acend has his if he fancies it. On the other side, no masses of intent to read into early. Still going to try and find some of that information. You can see the dog being invested over towards that B site. Going to push up. Don't know if it caught a glimpse. It might have done on Bone Cold if it did just turn in time, but I don't see anyone rotating to support that.
So the big indicator there is if you see Redgar or Nats, where again they're trying to counter Zeke's ultimate here with how deep Nats is playing. He wants the trap wires and his spy cam available for this execute.
Okay, Defo, Shados, now going to be suppressed and have to just have the gun in the hand, and that's going to be the good pick on the first. The follow-up, Shados! Quick as lightning, finding 3 and sending Acend right on back. Defo wants to take that space, and this is brutal work from Gambit. That site's all theirs. Bone Cold and CNED. I wouldn't want to go through there again. It's just a grinder.
30 seconds left.
Oh, There's no way in. There is no way into this. 23 seconds now. 4 players here. Plenty of utility. Shadow still has 2 flashes if he wants to just keep buying time if he wants to. There's one. Just let them know, yeah, they're still around. Don't overpeak it, boys.
10 seconds left.
Got to give this one up.
There it is, walk on in. Only gonna get 1, and 3 seconds left. CNET still gets Redgar, but it's gonna be 3 on the board.
Great
90.
Fantastic read once again from Gambit. Those trap wires would have been huge if they could have got past the choke point, but Shados stops them at the front door. Massive from him. Again, the first kill is Zeke out.
A third. Dreamy work.
This is interesting though. Zeke's investing into an operator here. Not sure if that will be cycled across or whether or not he's just going to go for an early round peek here towards top mid. Nothing on the other side of it though.
I don't think Gambit have really been challenging through middle like this. This hasn't been one of those like, oh, Defo's making a lot of impact here. It's been...
They're losing these rounds on the rotate. They don't need to fight for mid.
Yeah. And speaking of rotate, you can already see the lean back towards that A site. I don't know what the tails are, but it looks like a good read again.
Confirmation there, yep.
Yeah, they're going to be happy with that. That's going to be at least revealed somewhat. Position now considered. Do they adjust off the back? Do they decide to go back towards that B piece? For now, the 4 players in middle looking for the start, and Redguard already going to deny it. That was the kind of split working towards A, and this again keeps telling these concepts of this. Oh, jumping on the cross, Zeke! What is Zeke trying to do with this? He's getting now out of it.
Actually, you can see Sender stacked up here. The trap wire will confirm CNED's entry towards B side.
But it's so geared for a retake, and Zeke looks
They don't even need to retake.
flat. Yeah, Chronicle's doing just fine already. The door was already shut. Nats was on the other side of this. If it was going to be a walk through B, they'd have been aware and maybe hit that rotation through CT. But as you said, they didn't need to go to that mode yet. So Bone Cold now. You're going to go for us, not really. Shados shuts it out, and I've got to say that was. I feel like maybe Acend trying something that wasn't needing to be addressed.
No, I think you're bang on the money there. This is almost reminiscent of running out of steam, running out of ideas, potentially now second-guessing himself. Like I said, a few rounds where Gambit have pushed out.
But sad.
Paranoia that Acend feel as if they need to slow down the early round. And that one flank actually towards top mid. That one push through A main with Shados and Redguard is almost, this is the byproduct of that.
Yeah, that was the catalyst to all of this. And now there is more than just a window of opportunity. The door's been opened. This could be 5-7. We have to look at what's coming back in for this though for Acend. They are down at least on Bone Cold there. Purchase not perfect. Let's see what they can do. Looks like an A hit coming in.
Again, look, Defo controlling all of B main. Already the rotation comes through from Gambit.
The theory is exceedingly strong from Gambit, but they still have to deal with the pressure that's coming their way. Oh my word!
Why?
How are you alive in this? Deals with such pressure so well. And Starzo knows he is now just absolutely surrounded. The spike's in enemy control. He cannot get across that. This would need something, somewhat of a miracle here.
Another round where you see them almost baited in by the confirmation on the back of Zeke's utility, Bone Cold's utility as well. Gambit welcomed them with open arms. And what looked disastrous now is looking like a 7-5 half, which is a miracle.
Open arms again.
Their ability to adjust whenever they need it. Redguard shut down this chapter. 5-7, Hypoc. This is looking far more feasible than it did initially.
That's half the comeback required on map 2 for Gambit. Because they've already done most of the legwork. A pistol round, a round 2, right back to an even game.
ये मैच देख के मैं जा रहा सोने.
A second here.
I don't know.
Is beyond me. He has no right to find that second kill.
But it's not the first time we've seen him deal with that sort of presence as well. He's so good at handling that sort of pressure coming his way. Still, as you said, good for 2 in that when I felt 1 was probably more than enough. However, speaking of more than enough, 5-7. That scoreline's much closer now than what we had on the first, so maybe not even the comeback needed. Who knows? A whole other half to go, and the deaths to talk you through the first.
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, like you said, much closer. We've seen Gambit play Acend already yesterday. This is much better, Sean.
This is preparation gone to perfection.
हाँ लल्लू लाल ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट तो हुआ ही है वो तो है भाई.
Again,
so good.
Just chilling in their spawn. Nats is idle in his camera, holding A for Chronicle. He has a cage at B. Also, you have Redgar back there on the Astra in Astral form, ready to.
अभी नहीं जा रहा हूँ मैं. ये गेम खत्म होने दे ये वाला मैप खत्म होने दे. पता चल जाएगा कौन जीत रहा है.
I mean, bone cold for the first half of that half. I felt like that first half had two whole.
मैं तो भाई बोल ही रहा हूँ. Gambit Championship ले जाएगा पूरा.
The big thing to remember here is that for Bone Cold, he's going up against Gambit side that historically has a defensive side in this on Ascent. Now, if you don't win that half decisively, you are staring down the barrel of probably a loss if they keep up that trend. So that is my big worry here. Is that Bone Cold? He had a good first 5 rounds. He couldn't keep it up.
Powder ले रहा है क्या ये? या mint?
Oh man, Gambit number, and I gotta throw it out there, guys. I gotta eat my words. I
Chewing gum.
had counter-shredded their opponents. Looks like maybe their opponents have just gone that step further.
This is crazy because Defo over there on the Jet is 3 and 7. They took him out of the game early. They caught him on some
Defo ने सिर्फ
A main and pushing into market over at B. Keelis caught him once, and he had no success. Even the Blade Storm whiffs. It didn't matter. Gambit didn't need that because the strategy and tactics prepared to counter Ascend, they look like the more prepared team here.
It really does. The moment we saw Ascend getting into the sites, their post plants, the layering of how they would take Gambit out on the way back in, brought a lot of those first rounds into the game. Once Gambit figured that out, you mentioned the null command on round 10, how they sat back and everything was available from both Redgar and Nats to be used in the round. You can tell how comfortable they are in reading and even giving Ascend a little bit of space before Gambit attacks again.
Well, Ascend, they do have 7 rounds here. Let's jump into the second half with Pansy and Hypok and see if that will be.
It's the big question, isn't it? Because I think most of us, when we look at this matchup on paper, if it starts at 2-0 for Gambit, the reverse sweep becomes something of a fable at that point. Now we are...
का ट्रेलर कब आया बे?
I think
अच्छा रिवर्स पावर. ओके हाँ कायो का ट्रेलर. मैं योरू का नया ट्रेलर समझा. नहीं कायो का तो भाई कुछ अलग ही सीन है.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger point, right? Is that mental game.
Gambit trio कर गया ना भाई मजा आ जाए.
Hard to get around. It starts with this. The pistol in the second half can set you up and tee you up to get to those double digits for Ascend. That could be incredible for them. And Zeke, the man to step in towards that pick towards main. Eyeing up the spike though, it's working up short.
Gambit drifting towards this 3-player stack. Actually, the Trailblazers are going to plant the seed of doubt.
बड़ी bench. ये लोग pistol round हारते ही है भाई ये लोग.
Still holding the right place in the right time.
Gambit वाला
is about to be in danger, and he is. Zeke is taking control of this round. 3 big picks, leaving just Defo in a 1v5. Not much step, but the cross is not available. Ascend get what they need. It's the start to potentially shutting down what could be a Gambit chapter.
Side change हुआ ना.
This is the sort of thing I've talked about. If Ascend are able to get a good read, they set up and they look so comfortable to greet this pressure. Zeke actually playing closer contact, but Cena baiting them in almost, playing just behind bricks there, taking first contact and waiting for Zeke to counter peek. Look for Ascend to try and replicate that in a few of these rounds on their defense. But also, I mean, Zeke's got to make use of the 0 point here. Particularly that 20 to 30 second stalemate if Gambit do want to continue playing slow. Bone Cold and Zeke need to suck with their utility and make the most of it.
He has to get out of there because they're trying to hunt him down right now. Tries to slip towards CT but takes a little bit of the space back. The pace change from Gambit is so apparent, but already it's fine. Ascend are happy with all of this. Let's break a sweat, and it's another Prime Gaming flawless coming out. Ascend off to the absolutely idyllic start here in the second half.
Perfect opportunity for this bonus as well. Making sure that was flawless on the way in. Good ultimate progress as well for Zeke.
Nice from Zeke there as well. What a pickup for Ascend when they got him on board.
Yeah, it's safe to say it was rather underwhelming. Kind of maybe a role mismatch.
लल्लूलाल को देख कैसे उछल रहा है.
Diamond in the rough for this roster.
See if we can make it shine this round. Right place.
कितने किल किया लल्लूलाल देखना पड़ेगा.
And CNED's starting to get a little aggressive. Tag towards Chronicle. He's feeling it now.
Actually, on the flip side, Defo, somebody you look towards on Gambit's attack to come online. See that there, 3 and 9. A shaky performance. Ascent. Bit creep closer and closer. Actually, a little bit of a rotation come out from Ascend now.
12 kill pe Lalulal.
Second guessing it.
Yeah, he's going to slip through towards Tree. Back up is Starzo, who's over towards this side, and of course Zeke. And actually seeing that. He's going to keep him posted here. CNED is still CNED, and he might want to do CNED things. He might just walk that, because Starzo's looking like he's thinking about it too, and the timing, he just misses it. But wait, they don't know he's here. Oh,
Gaya.
He gets two out of nowhere, and this is meant to be the bonus round. It's a 3v3. Redgar, Nats, and Chronicle not loving this. As CNED, he makes the Madman drop. Gets down in their faces, and now just Nats presented the undesirable scenario. They face together, and they win together. Ascend gonna push up to double digits.
Lay the foundations to close this half out.
ये लोग angle clear ही नहीं कर रहे भाई, ऐसे ही घुस रहे हैं.
And CNED's willingness, we've seen a similar play actually here with that smoke just coming out of heaven to try and confirm that plant underneath. Again, it's weird, it's unorthodox. Gambit aren't prepared for that sort of thing. And now Ascend in total control of the second half, really looking for Gambit to make something out of nothing on this next round in particular, but we're looking at one more buy round, Lauren. We're looking at one more buy round.
It's not over till it's over though with Gambit.
No, exactly.
Until that final round, that final kill ticks over. It ain't there, and they know that, and Ascend need to know that now too.
Hey, Gambit, throw a little into this round. Not sure what's behind it, but they want to do some damage, maybe keep the economy in check on the side of the will be noted now. Contact around the map.
Madras. मेरे को ये वाला फैंटम लेना है. स्पेक्टर लेके क्या ही करेगा? स्पेक्टर तो बहुत कम खेलते हैं अपन. रिकॉन का फैंटम सेक्सी है. तू क्या बोलता है, फैंटम या स्पेक्टर? रिकॉन का. अभी मेरे पास इन्फेंट्री स्पेक्टर है.
And now 3, and Zeke's all too aware. He can't quite convert on the second. Redgar still stands. Starzo though, there's the aiming control becoming a problem. As Chronicle, he was a highlight on map 1.
I have the spike.
Has the undesirable task of trying to find 3 players standing at the moment. Taps the spike, no one gonna take that initial bait.
30 seconds left.
Chronicle looking for his first potential victim. Spike plant comes in, the spray comes out, and CNED from above. It's 11 on the board for Ascend.
Phantom low.
And this is the lifeline they need to bound back in this.
Let's take a look at actually how Gambit sit after that.
Because they bought in, right?
the age-old count to 3, pull the trigger. CNED finds one. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's going to be awkward if... Yeah, it's awkward. I mean, the only saving grace is rifles. One Spectre in the hand of Nats. Yeah, quick scan of the utility, it's not looking terrible, but...
But talk about playing with heart here for Ascend. They just had a almost fatal map 1. That could have sent you spiraling. And they found a little bit more in the tank. And now we wait to see if they can close. 2 players in middle, CNED on the other side. This man exceeds brilliance, gets one and backs away, looks for the follow-up. He's feeling himself just a touch.
Lallulal.
Lingers around.
Goes
on the other side. And he holds his nerve.
Defo doesn't want to give away another peek here, CNED. Whether or not he wants to re-aggress towards me, you can see now Bone Cold making his way over, whether or not it's going to be recon bolt for
अरे सुनना टेंस क्लाउड से लीव हुआ है तो अभी कौन इसमें होगा
for Gambit
Zeke
to identify.
C9 में तो वो अभी नया प्लेयर आया ना C9 में
and they line up so perfectly.
Z आया है C9 का
Zenit still controlling towards middle, down behind, flash in the swing. It's everything you wanted.
Zen या Z ऐसा कुछ नाम है.
Open and Zenit has to be ready for what's coming his way. He reads it well, he repositions well, but he has to fall back from the angle.
Acend नहीं ये तो टीम है Z के कुछ नाम है.
In B main.
10 seconds left.
The time.
There's nothing left for them to do here, Laura.
They have no time to be playing with here. There's no more picks to be had. This is going to be 12 on the board. I don't think Gambit can do anything to deny it and Acend make it to 12. And I've got to say, from start to finish, Zeke and Zenit that round to me, lovely coordination between the two.
It's just night and day. This is what you want to see from Acend in terms of momentum, holding on to it, him maintaining that pace, maintaining that level of control that we've seen before. Gambit looked lost for our
Sentinel में अभी.
They do. We haven't seen the timeouts coming in,
no.
Any of this. They're just kind of going through the motions.
Any value from this default, which we credit so often.
हार गया ये.
Well, Acend.
Look at the setup here.
Yeah, they are so prepared for this. And away we go. Zenit goes in, anti-flash. Oh, that could have been the icing on the cake. It's not to be. Nats, the destroyer of dreams, happy on the other side. And Investio as well. Zeke has to respect this now.
Trying to pick up the pace a little bit here.
Oh, no way! Nats goes down to Zeke. I thought he had him dead to rights. It wasn't to be. This is scrappy, and that's not where Gambit thrive. It's where Acend come online. They find so much momentum in the brutality of it all. Shados, Redgar, and Defo. Killers, be careful now. There's two players. He's going to make mincemeat of one, but it's a good trade out. It's enough to secure the site for the spike plant.
A little opportunity here for them to set up. They're not going to play this aggressively. Might even have an opportunity to drift back into B main. That could be huge.
Zeta jet में ने. Zeta या Leaf दो में से एक.
First contact on the way back in.
Flashback up in a couple of seconds.
Leaf खेलता है कभी-कभी Zeta खेलता है कभी-कभी.
A pivotal position, and Redgar wants to try and play off the back of it as well. That's the first challenge. He wins. Shados, that is everything he needed, but Redgar is right there in support. The Unison Gambit at least get another on the board. If this can continue, I don't know, but it's
leave jet में ने उसमें.
Over the line there.
और Zeta 100 में ने. अच्छा खेलता है Zeta.
Building up the economy, but a lifeline at least for Gambit. 6 more to find.
Comeback बोलते.
Yeah, for any other team.
Yeah. Very valid point. Speaking of ultimates, we haven't really talked much about it. I mean, we've still got Starzo on his.
Not been an awful lot of reliance on.
No, not really. Shados as his, Defo as his. It's not been
Odin
the biggest part of this. And Bone Cold just destroyed 2 of them. Look at the HP on Nats and Shados. No way. This is how it goes down. Defo slices through, refusing to go down in moments like these. He tries to power forward, ult still out, looking to maybe catch off Zeke here, get aggressive towards CT. That's the name of the game for Defo. Leaves the 2 on the site, ignores them almost. As Chronicle now confirms there's still 2 here. Do we re-engage? Yes, we do, and Defo is the one at the helm. They clear the site and the spike goes down.
Need that back.
You start to get a little...
गलत खेला भाई Defo बहुत गलत खेला भाई. कान तोड़ दी Zeke और वो सब की.
Starzo can find anything on the way back in. Big factor will be Gambit need to maintain this economy. They need to hold on to this buffer. Make sure.
Eco खराब करेगा या बैठ के साला.
A little easier on the way back in.
वो देख. बाजू में दोनों.
Investment of utility towards B main. Well, the seeds of doubt. See a very late Trailblazer here.
Did he see him?
Didn't spot him.
Shados is a lucky boy at 15 HP. He could have been dead. But it will be 3 making it out. Shados being one of them. And I'm pretty sure Shados and Nats were the 2 that received the vast majority of the flak from that initial spam coming out.
There was a moment there where there was 3 of them lined up on the X-ray, and I think actually enough damage is done where Keyleth finds a kill with the Nano Swarm as they try and force through. It's Nats who actually falls here. Somehow Defo gets ahead of this, so far ahead of this it feels.
Oh my. Round for him.
So
it's so bold to attempt that. The timing has to be crucial, making use of that, but some vital information fed back across.
We go again. waiting with bated breath to see if Acend can close out this game, or Gambit are just simply the immovable objects. Starzo does need to respect this and pull away. Allow Cena to maybe pick up that mantle. The beginning moves from Gambit.
Well, it's interesting to see a couple of light armors on the side of Acend, whether or not that's trying to maintain the economy or trying to make sure they can continue purchasing operators for CNED. Gambit again look to explore mid. Spike not committed anywhere just yet, so Gambit want to try and find an engagement, create an opening for themselves. So you can Bone Cold though, just in both information tools ready and waiting. Bone Cold will actually find Redgar there.
Was that through smoke? I feel like it was.
Yeah.
But Defo looking like he might be on track for a trade, and he is. That's Killer's now punished towards the top mid, which will cut off some of these rotations. That's actually a huge pick to garner.
Yes, again, Defo finding.
Oh, Chronicle, this patience.
And now with the flash, it should give Acend a good idea of what's about to go down.
Defo, you still need to be key in this one, and Bone Cold's got him across the map. CNED still stands as well. This could be the one. This could be the round to take him across the line. Nats, the last one alive here, and Acend bound back, 13-7. There is life in them yet.
And that's huge. We talked about this in terms of 5 to answer back after a deflating finish to map 1. The confidence for Acend now. We're basically a bracket reset, right? It comes down now to a best of 3. I don't want to talk about the veto just yet, but the next map is particularly interesting.
It is, and there'll be, I'm sure the desk will touch on it as well. But let's talk about what this looked like for a while. The start, Bone Cold. What a performance from the man.
Chalo, मैं जा रहा हूँ सोने. Bye bye.
I got notes as well. Gambit.